I've bought this van behind us with one aim, and that is to convert it into the ultimate adventure vehicle. We are going to fully convert this panel van into the ultimate adventure vehicle. Come and follow us on this long journey, taking it from a panel van to the best van on the market, fully built here at FWX, with a couple of little hidden secrets involved as well. Let's get around the side door to see what we've got in there. We've ripped the wheel arch paneling off just to get some dims for upstairs. Dims, I mean dimensions. What do we want to achieve out of a short wheelbase? Maximum possible. I want to do a total different layout. I want 2 single seats that move up and down, but not your standard rock and roll bed seats. We're going to then put our benchy seats on the rail systems to move up and down. In the middle of that, there's going to be an alleyway where I want to store 2 mountain bikes. That's going to fully slide out the back door, so you've got easy access to get them in and out of the vehicle. We're going to be whacking it with solar panels. I want to make it sort of off-grid, but not fully dependable, if you know what I mean. We want to make sure we've got the chargers in there, coolie box, stuff like that for weekend adventures on the mountain bike or out with the family traveling. But also, this is going to be the new parts vehicle. I need to have storage in the back. We're going to be able to unmount them seats to make us have a full van if we need to, but also mainly we're going to have a big load space at the rear because we're going to use them benchy seats, which you'll see along the build why we're using them. So you've heard the plans. Let's get upstairs, do some drawings, get on the what we call it, the thinking table. We're going to go at the thinking table and draft out that floor plan. That is the first step, because without that we don't know where we're going to put stuff. And if it's not going to work because of key measurements, we're going to have to change the whole design. But we're not going to do that because we can't do anything here, and we will do anything. So meet us upstairs where we're going to start drafting out the initial plans for this short wheelbase Transit Custom. So we're in the thinking chair back upstairs here. Right, floor plan. Basic floor plan, short wheelbase, space is a premium. What we're going to look to do is create 2 benchy singles, which will roughly mount around about there. That'll be 600 deep. The bases on these are going to be 300 wide, but the actual seat is going to be 550 wide. These will extend into a bed to make a 1200mm long bed, which will come forward this way to touch the back of the front seats, drivers and passengers. So we're going to have 2 of them. Now what we want to do is build a unique floor plan, incorporating our RS rail system. So there's going to be 2 tracks either side. So there's going to be 1 track from the front of the benchy back, and then there's going to be a second track going in line with the wheel arch. That is going to be on the same side from there to there. So technically there's going to be 4 tracks now. Where's Neil Buchanan when you need him? The Art Attack hero. Anyway, so there's going to be 2 tracks like that. This is going to enable the benchy to then move from that fixed position all the way to the rear of the van, just in case you want anything up front or you want to be sitting further back. These benches as well will be able to get removed, so you can take them out to give you a bigger floor space if needed. In the middle, I wanted to leave roughly, if these are 550 wide, the width of the Transit should leave roughly 550 in the middle. There's an alleyway, and in there we're going to design around about a 1.2 metre loading tray on 100% extension runners that lock in. That's going to mount 2 downhill mountain bikes to be stored in there safely and securely. Them will then extract through the rear of the vehicle to then offload and unload. So the setup's going to be 2 single seats that move up and down, a tray to mount 2 mountain bikes to come out the rear of the vehicle to load easily and unload easily. This then can make 2 very small single beds, or we can then adapt an infill panel which will give you a 1.2 metre wide bed by 1700 or 1.7 metre wide bed. So technically you can still sleep in here, still get the storage you need, get your bikes in, still carry 2 people. We could look to put a pop top on this, but we're not going to. I have got a pop top roof box which I'm not going to use because I want to try and do a 400 to 600 watt solar kit on the top, so it's sort of off-grid as well, which will go into the electronics later on down the line. But before we move any further, I've got to make sure all these measurements are going to work and basically rebuild what we've already got into a smaller stage, incorporating our RS system and our benchy together, but technically making 2 units that's mounted onto 1 solid floor pan that'll look the same shape as the Transit Custom. Just remember, in the short wheelbase Transit Custom, the max width you've got about 1700 and the max length you've got 2400 millimeters, give or take 50 mil, depending where your bulkhead's going to start and finish, and the back doors. So that's the size we've got to work with, and we want 2 mountain bikes, 2 chairs that slide up and down the vehicle and can be removed, that then slide down into make a sofa or a small bed. Then we're going to have the storage side of things, then we've got battery storage, then the battery management and some USB outlets for charging. Then it's going to have a couple of windows in. That is going to be the rough breakdown of this small wheelbase 2019 Transit Custom. So next stage we should have a more clear vision of what I've just roughly drawn out there, and hopefully I'll have some measurements to confirm and then give it the thumbs up to cut the first prototype out. So that's my plan. I've got to ask the people downstairs and Paul if they want to join this journey with us, because I do have some random ideas. Most of them do work, most of them are sitting behind us here and they've become very popular products, but we need to get their opinion on it, see if them think it's going to work, because them do manufacture these all day. I might design them, but I'm not hands-on as much as I used to be, so I need to make sure that my measurements that I want to achieve are going to fit within the parameters of all the materials I've got, the machinery and the capabilities. I'm sure Paul will have a very interesting opinion on this. They'll probably want to scrap the whole lot, but fingers crossed it's a goer. Outside is the short wheelbase orange Transit. I want to put in it 2 single benches on rails.
Right, okay.
Right, so that is the plan. This is the back of the van, that's the front of the van, that's the bulkhead, front seats. The benches are going to predominantly live here. They're going to be 550 mil wide with a base width of 300. I'm not really looking at using these as beds, right? Because if need be, we've got the pop top tent box to go on top. This one could be used as a bed. This is mainly going to be used for travelling people and having more storage in the rear and a decent width alleyway down the centre.
What behind the driver is going to have a swivel, yeah, so you at least want to have your bed there.
Or behind the passenger.
Behind the passenger.
I don't want to do the driver's swivel because you've got to do a flyaway handbrake, all the rest of it. I don't want to mess on with that. Everything we do here seems to be an adaptation or evolution of products. So this time we're going to make the benchy on a rail. What I want to do though is, like to do with the ID Buzz, is make the floor pan the full floor. So all this will be welded in to go in, and I want to bond it instead of drilling holes. I want to bond the centre and use the original fixing points to bolt it down in. I don't want to drill anything. I just want to put it straight in, bang. Rails are already welded in, finished. Because my idea with this is, so we're going to have 2 550 mil single seat benches that'll fold down to do a 1200 long bed. The idea is you can have, there's not going to be much gap here at the sliding door. It's going to be 600 mil from the back seat to the front of that seat, which is enough to get in and out of. What you're going to have here is all this space. You know what I mean? You're going to have quite a lot of the van back. If you want to, slap it back. The centre part, I want to then make a bike tray system with around about 1 metre runner on it. So it'll have 100% extension, so they'll come out the back of the van 1 metre and put the bikes in. Have bikes in the centre and 2 single seats. So technically it's built as an adventure vehicle. You could put these 2 beds down and put an infill in between that 600 gap, and you're going to have a 1200 by 1700 bed. The Transits are really good vans because they're wide, but you've still only got that 2400 millimetre load space in the rear. So we need to try and use that as much as we can. That is my plan. Ford Transit Custom, double benches on rails plus bikes adventure vehicle. That's what I want to build. With its own fully fixed floor pan. On top of that roof, I'm aiming to try and have 600 watts of solar energy on it. I don't want to put a pop top roof on. Yes, there's more, you've got more height and stuff, but this ain't going to be used to cook in and walk around in. It's literally you travel in, charge your gear up, have a coffee, keep your bikes in, secure them. I think if we can get this in, which my basic measurements work out the can, it'll be quite good, like. But we need to design the floor. I want you to go on your drawing software and basically I want to try and draw as detailed as I possible and bench that with the seat on. I would like that done, just so we can get we'll regroup when you've done that, pretty sharpish, and we'll see how it looks like a little bit more 3D like. So try and make it look quite fancy in around about 2 minutes time. Alright, new concept, there you go. We're happy with the layout. I've been given the go ahead by Beth and Paul to say that the concept that we're working on for the seat bed system is a goer. But before anything happens, we need to get inside the van, strip everything out. We also need to sound deaden the panels that are not having windows. Then we'll have to pack some insulation into the cavities to keep everything warm. I've just opened this from last night and we had a frost and it's like a fridge in there. So preparation on the insulation is very important, because if not, you're gonna have a really, really cold rear end and you don't want that. So if you get your preparation done right at the start, find out where your windows are going, then you can get your sound deadening panels on to take any noise out, and then you can start packing cavities like this with a little bit of wadding. General insulation. People do use rock wool. You can get specialised camper stuff which is more hygienic, flame retardant, all the rest of it. Today's goal is all the panels off, get them labelled up, keep all the fixings so we've got them, clean everything down, and then apply the sound deadening, which I'll show you what the difference is of why you need to apply that, so you don't have a tinny van when everything's finished. Stay tuned and watch us through this process. Very simple. All you need is a screwdriver, drill driver, whip the screws out, get the panels off. I've labelled them up because I will be reusing some of them as templates. I'll reuse them as they are, and I don't want to forget where they go. Yes, I could spend time refitting them, but I don't want to do it. Always label stuff up, which I've done. Bag stuff up. That there is a 2-second job, and it does make life easier moving throughout the builds. I have built a few vans before in the past. I've learned all the wrong ways, and I still haven't learned all the right ways, but I have made some big mistakes that's cost us money and time. So I should have some hints and tips on the way. I don't know everything. You out there know a lot more than me, but we're going to build this together and it's going to look absolutely amazing and look a little bit different to your normal camper van, day van layout spec. Stay tuned, let's get the panels whipped off. Just like that. Is there another one behind? Oh, look at that. Been done properly. There's my brand new panels. Save them for later. They are a bit of a nightmare. You get the clips out, I hate them. You get bored after about one, popping them out and then pulling them out. Yes, there is specialised tools on the market for it. We don't have one. We did have a set of trim tools. I was going to order them, but I haven't. Someone's pinched them, and I know who. So we're going to reuse these panels, I think, because they're brand new, because they've been hidden up since new. Plan is, because we can talk roughly about what we've got spec for the van. Sliding window in here with a window pod from Van Shades. Same on the passenger side. Sliding window, window pod by Van Shades. It's not sponsored. And then in here, from Caravan, they do a fitted pod that goes in with loads of shelves, so it's like an ABS moulded pod that clips in. So you've got various shelves, which I think will be handy to have there instead of just boarding it off. They're about 170 quid. Pretty neat, to be honest, like 170 quid for a bit of plastic, yeah, but it covers all that space. That's dead space behind there. I have done something similar before, but if I can buy something that's moulded and factory sort of fitted, we're going to get one of them and clip it straight in. It looks a good bit of kit. But we're just going to carry on getting these outer panels off because we're not going to use them. And then will result into getting the sound deadening. We've got this by a company off Amazon. We'll go into that later on. It's all pretty spec the same. I'll go through a couple of good features and what you should look for. But as it goes, this is the basics. This is a stage anyone can do to prepare the van. Anyone, if you've ever picked up a Stanley knife before or a screwdriver or a drill, anyone can remove the panels and insulate a van. It's not hard. It's simple stuff. I reckon my 9-year-old daughter could be in here doing it. Taking the screws off, whacking some wadding in, sticking some stickers on. Very easy. And there's a couple of things as well I will tell you along the line that you might go, really, but there's a couple of little tips I'll tell you that might be a surprise. But I'm going to carry on now because I can talk all day and we'll get nothing done. Sound deadening time. We are going to get the sound deadening out the box. I've not used this before. It's got really good feedback and reviews on Amazon. Dead quiet. We'll see how dead quiet it is, but this is 1.9 millimeters thick sound deadening. You know when you've got a good sound deadening because it's got a bit of weight to it. So if you get a box of 20 sheets, it should have a bit of weight to it. Very easy, peel it off, stick it on. You can cut it with a standing knife, you can cut it with scissors if you want, but I use a standing knife because you can change the blade out a bit more. But in this van, I've noticed something. Follow us in. Up here, because they've painted over it, they've put 2 strips of sound deadening. On this side, they haven't, and the rest of it, they haven't. There is a massive difference. If I tap that, it's a dull tapping noise. You tap this, very echoey. The weight of that pad sticking on there stiffens the plate up, or the panel. This stuff is very thin. Van skins are very thin. It's made of the same sort of skin all over. Even the floor is made from the same sort of thickness. It's just got the ribs in. That gives it its stiffness when it's then welded onto the chassis rails and stuff like that. But what we're going to do, obviously we're not doing that because that's been done. We are going to work our way around the van on the panels we're not touching. We've already disclosed that we're going to be putting windows in these 2 sides. The rest of it where we can get in, or there's a big area of metal, we are going to be sticking this sound deadening plate to it. Probably going to start off with this window aperture in here. We're going to stick some on there, tune back in once we've stuck it on to see what the difference is. I'll do one panel first and then we'll tap it and see if there's a difference. That's the difference that makes. People think you've got to fill it all in here, you don't. That's probably a bit too much. You could have got away with maybe that much. All you're doing is putting a different weight on the panel to stop it from vibrating and flexing and stuff like that. That's all you're doing. Easy, peel it off, stick it on. We're going to do this one next because that's another full sheet. Then we'll need to trim a little bit off for that because that's a little bit smaller. So hopefully very soon we're going to sound deaden the whole van. We don't need to do this. This is coming out. But we're going to work our way down. If we can get little bits in here, we will do. Same for that, same for that, same for that, same for that. And back around there and also in there. Obviously that's a big area as well. You will get noise from there. So we are going to be putting it on there as well. Hopefully there's enough. I've got 20 sheets in this pack. I think the pack was about 39 quid, something like that. It's got really good reviews. Previous vans I've done, I have used other stuff. There's a load of people out there, just as there is pop top roofs, rock and roll beds, insulation, carpet floor and fridges, all the rest of it. There is some crap stuff out there, I'm not gonna lie. But the majority of it, get the reviews, make sure someone's tried and tested it before, and it will do what you need it to do. With this stuff, it's about a weight. Between 1.7, 2 mil thick, a decent weight to it. That is gonna stop any vibrations in the van on these bigger, larger panels. So yeah, as easy as that. Stick and go. I'm enjoying it because I used to like put my stickers in my football boot when I was younger. So it's a bit like that, but you don't have to get in the square. You can just slap it on. But we're now going to jump outside. We might have to cut this one down because I think it's going to be too big. But we're going to take that noise out of it. Nice dull sound. Nice tin sound. We're going to get rid of that tin sound. That will be the last one we're going to do. Tune back in when we put our last square on, and we'll show you everywhere that we've sound deadened in this short wheelbase. Standard Custom. So that full pack has done this van. I could have used a little bit more. It doesn't have to look like it's all going to get covered up at the end of the day. But we've got our last strip to go on. We've done this one, moving on to this one. This one is a noisy panel. So we're going to put the last panel on, and that is the sound deadening done. Wheel arches have got a strip on each. They're going to get insulated and then carpeted. Tacked on the roof, we're just going to roller it on. Everything needs to be rolled on with this. You want to squash it on, but that is quiet now. We've gone inside the little panels there, little squares. That's just taking all the noise off the big outer panel. Same for in there. Obviously the back end's having no windows in. The window panel's being left empty because they're getting cut out. Next stage, start thinking of electrics. So we're going to get these plastic panels off because that's where some electrics are going to run through. And then once they're off, we will start talking about the electric side of things, because even though at early stages of the conversion, you need to start pulling wires through quick. You don't want to be putting insulation in here, trying to pull wires in, because then you're going to start pulling all the insulation out. So let's start prepping where lights are going, fixings. We're not going over the top of this, not going to have cookers in and microwaves, PowerPoints, that's about it really. A couple of different lights, but the main thing is USB, USB-C, so everyone relies on these days. But we're going to put all the cables in as much as we can, and then we'll move on to the window stage, depending on what parts come in stock at the time. But as it stands, panelling's off. We've kept some of the panelling to reuse and reuse as templates. Sound deadening are on all the panels. We're now going to move on to electric prepping and just getting some ideas of where we want stuff. Right, so I've ordered some external parts for this short wheelbase Transit Custom. Luckily enough, the warehouse is only 7 miles away from where we are. We're going to get into the review on this. So we've jumped in the Transit to do a little bit of a review on it, because I haven't drove it that far. So we're going to give it a little run out, not far, see what I think of it. But we're only going 7 miles, heading over to Nottingham Way, little town called Huthwaite. So we're going to head over there, pick up side steps to fit the sport version, because there's a difference. Rear spoiler pre-painted to go on once we've had the new decals put on, and then roof rails. Get the roof rails on. So they're the three items we're picking up today. We've pre-ordered the rest of the stuff that's going to get delivered to us from different people. We've also put the order in this afternoon for the van shades, which is great. That's going to be two-week lead time, but we will be visiting Jack and his team up in Barnsley at the van shades warehouse to collect them, and then we'll bring them back to fit them. But it is the 185 brake horsepower version, so more powerful version. It is the auto box, short wheelbase. It's very easy to park and move about. It's also got rear view camera, DAB, all the rest of that stuff. Pretty specced up, to be honest. It's even got heated front seats, which is really good. But I've never drove an auto Transit before. They've all been manual, and the first sort of views of this is it's very nice. It's very tight to drive. This has only done 40,000 miles, but it has been running as such, so it's not a brand new vehicle, but it is a very nice drive. It is like driving a car, and with it being short wheelbase, you can just throw it in and out of parking spaces, easy to reverse and all the rest of it, and it's got a good turn circle, which is really good. But it is quite powerful, which I like. I could knock it down a bit by saying the gearbox has got a bit of lag. If there is people out there who can tune these very well, it could do with a bit of a remap on the gearbox and the ECU itself, just to make it a bit more punchier. But it is very quick for a van. Yes, it's empty. We're not going to be putting vast amount of weight in it, so it's still going to have a bit of punch coming out the junctions and whatnot. But as far as it is, I think I love it, like, to be honest. And I've drove some vans. I've drove some really bad vans and some really good vans, and this is up there. It's really good. Obviously this is going to be our new vehicle for parts, for me, ferrying kids about, parts about, everything else. But it's going to have a bit of a spin-off, which we have said, and it's going to be really good. So overall, if I had to give this out of 5, I reckon this is a solid 4, like, for a van. And I know vans come far and few between, really good ones, really bad ones. This is a really good one, and I'm really happy with it. And we've just started converting it, so when we're finished with it, it's going to be even better. So follow the journey to see what this looks like in a few weeks. So we're just here now, Trade Van Accessories. I'll let you into a little secret. I did place the order for this online, didn't realise where it was. So then they were nice enough to look at our address and go, oh, he's only 7 miles away, so phone him and then he can come down and pick them up. And that's exactly what we've done this morning. So we've agreed that they've got the order ready. We're here now, and hopefully everything's there. and it fits. Luckily enough, if it doesn't fit, I've only got 7 miles to come bring it back. So let's go and find out what we've got. Recap: roof rails ×2, side steps to fit the Sport ×2, rear spoiler for the split doors at the back, pre-painted in glow orange ×1. Let's go. So we're at Trade Van Accessories up in Nottingham. They've sorted us out with all the gear that we've just listed: running boards, roof rails, and pre-painted roof spoiler. We are going to be getting these on in stages, not all at once. I'm very impatient. If I was allowed, I'd put them all on overnight. But we're going to take our time, do stage by stage, and show you how easy it is to get the roof rails on, get the running boards on, and mount that rear spoiler as well. Hopefully the paint code is a good match, which I'm pretty sure it will be. But that is it. Guys are here sorting this out within 24 hours. Let's get back to the workshop. Right, we're back with some of the exterior styling stuff that we've just talked about, but I want to give you a little rundown of what I've got in my head of the visuals of this. We're going to look to get the Overland sort of off-road rugged tyre and wheel packaged. We want the roof rails on the roof to mount the solar panels. We then want the side steps. With Transits, there's not a side step. In your T6s, Transporters, there's a deep well there. This is a pure flat bed in it. So when my kids are getting in and out, I want the running boards just so there's a little bit of a step up. And it'll look a bit cool as well. So we've got them to put on. We've got the spoiler that's going on the back, which is a 2-piece set. We're getting these redone. So we're going to get these peeled off and then get them bonded on left and right. Hopefully, when we open the box, it's pretty much the same colour as this burnt orange. So it's a direct fit, no paint required. Other little bits, obviously the windows are going to go in each side. Both of them are going to have sliding windows. Both of them are going to have the window pod systems in with the blinds. Outside, that's pretty much it. We are going to change the sticker pack up a little bit, keeping it factory fitted with our own little twist on it as well, which will be one of the end jobs I would have thought to get installed. And then it'll have a nice polish of our friends over the road, so it'll be detailed, nicely cleaned with a bit of protection on as well. So we all need protection on our vehicles. Other than that, that's the outside. So run down, roof rails, side windows, window pods, rear spoiler, running boards, new wheels, off-road tyres, and a sticker pack to finish it all off. But yeah, I think the vision is going to look really well. It's hard to see at the moment because it's technically just a panel van. Hopefully in the next few weeks it'll start transforming and you're going to start liking it. So yeah, follow us on the journey. Don't give up yet, there's still a long way to go, but I promise you it'll look nice. We bought this van with one aim: to make it a practical adventure vehicle. Last week we've done some of the basics, taking the ply lining out, starting the insulation and sound deadening. This week we're going to work from the roof downwards. Roof rails, rear spoiler, windows, sidebars, front grille, all that stuff's going to get completed this week, along with some carpet lining inside and some minor electric works just to pull some cables through. So that's a breakdown of what we're going to achieve this week. Let's get cracking with it. First job, roof rails. This should be a simple 5-minute job. Watch how quick and easy we can do it. This should be the easiest thing we put on this van. Fingers crossed. It is the roof rails. There we have them. Nice and simple. Black, bolt on, extra. First thing is, on the roof of these, there's 6 of them either side. Allen key, take it straight out. That's going to give us access straight into the roof frame. There's 6 of them either side, 12 in total. We're then going to be putting the roof rail on, new bolts which they've supplied with washers and Loctite. They're going to drop through there. When they're all nipped up nice and neat, black cap on, bang, job's a good one. I think this is going to be the easiest job we ever do on the van. That's why we've rushed to get this part done first, and it'll change the look of the top of the van also. So let me get my fingers ready and start work on installing these, and hopefully in a matter of minutes they'll be on and you'll be able to see what difference £100 makes, because these were about 100 quid for a kit. Very cheap, very easy to fix, and it's going to change the looks. So anyway, less flipping yapping on, let's get on to it. So I've rushed ahead. You don't need to take all the bolts out. That goes on there like that. On there like that. So you only take 3 of the 6 out. and it's the most rear one, not the front one, the back one, all set. So we'll screw these back in, and then we need to fill the holes that we've made with them, because the screw's going to go through. It's going to have a little void, and we don't want any water getting in, dripping through the roof, so drop that in there. When we drop the bolt through there, we're going to have to put some silicone in it, so that if there's any water gets underneath here, it's not going to leak through the thread and go in that way. Which I'm sure it won't, but there you go. Anyway, this is now turned into the longest job of the van build. What the f***'s gone on with this? Round 3 is silicone. All tubes of silicone there are rock hard.
Did you ever need any sealants or?
Well, what's it on there for then? For fun. I've still got it wrong. Struggling with instructions today. This has got to be the video I've ever done. Where's my socket set? Welcome back. So that side was an overnight job. Took about 12 hours because I didn't read the instructions properly. But I now know what I'm doing. So, first thing is, we've got to take 3 of the roof fixing caps out. The driver, or the front one, you're taking the second one out. The middle of the van, you're taking the second one out. But the rear of the van, you're taking the first one out. So what we're going to do, take these out, wipe the area down, because there will be some sludge and crap underneath there. And then we're going to fill the holes with the silicone. So when the bolt passes through with the Loctite, it's going to seal everything going through. If not, we're going to end up having a drippy roof, which we don't want. So hopefully this time it should take 5 minutes, not 15 hours. Keep watching. So we're doing this with all the 3 holes, 6 holes in total for both sides. We're just cleaning the area down. In here, if you get it in close, there's a riv nut, then there's a recess, because there's just like a double skin. We want to just be putting the silicone in between that double skin, because any water will then go in between there, rust, come through the roof. We don't want that. So it doesn't have to look pretty. We're just going to fill that hole up. Something like that. Then the bolt will pass through it. So we're going to work our way backwards, do the other 2, and then we'll go and talk about the roof rail. Oh, I could ice a cake, couldn't I? Anywho, that's a mucky job. Let's go around and have a look at the rail. So these rails fit, but they need a little bit of bending when they're on there. Just a little bit, manipulation. One thing not to forget though is it comes with this little foam foot here. It only goes there because the other 2 feet are bigger. That's just because there's a little gap between the van until you suck it down. That pad technically disappears under compression. Make sure you stick that on first, because trying to get it underneath when you've got the silicone on, you're going to make a mess. We're going to take this around the front now. We're going to start putting the front bolt in. Now there's 3 bolts per reel, and there's 3 different sizes. So what we've got is at the front is a 50, which is that one. At the rear there's a 40, and in the centre there's a 60. So we're going to do the 50 first at the front. So you go that way, I'm going that way. I'll meet you on the other side. I've dropped the bolt through. We can see the thread underneath. Comes with its own Allen key, which is great. I'm going to start that off. About 4 turns, just to get the thread started. And we're going to work our way back. We don't want to tighten one down because the rest will not fit. So you want to go get them started and get enough thread through, because there will be a bit of tension put on these bolts. You don't want to cross thread your riv nuts that are already in your roof from the factory. So what do we say for the middle? 60s for the middle, the big ones. So lift it up again, pass the bolt through, Allen key in position. That's started off nicely. Then we're going to go and get the back one in. As you can see, there's a gap. Needs a little bit of manipulation. Not much though, but we're going to get there. But that's why you don't want to tighten the front one down, because you'll have no chance getting this in. So we'll drop that through. The Allen key is located on the bolt. Is it? No? Now it is. I'm going to push it over, find out where the hole is. Somewhere about there. And this one, because we know that everything's lined up now, we're going to nip this one up now and work our way back. Don't go overly tight, thinking that you're world's strongest man, because them are just thin sheet riv nuts in there. and they may start to come loose. Enough's enough, you'll know when. Same with this one. Work our way back. You'll see it all compressing down and the rubber feet forming the shape of the van. But the reason for that silicone is if any water gets underneath there when you're driving, it'll find its way in, and we don't want that. Is it tight enough? I'm happy with that. Last job, 3 little rubber bungs just to cover up them holes. Just fiddly, lovely job. One in, we'll work our way backwards again, up and down the van. There you are, all you need, silicone, cork and gun, and read the instructions. Should take you around about 20 minutes. So there we have it. Stage 1 of the external upgrades complete. Roof bars fitted to the short wheelbase. These were from Trade Van Accessories over in Nottingham. It's about 7 miles from here. Visited them yesterday, bolted them on. Should take you no longer than 20 minutes. And they cost £90, £94.99 for the pair. And all you need is silicone, a little tube of silicone, squirt it in the holes, bolt it on, comes with the Allen key. Very easy, and I think it looks great already. But they're going to have a purpose to mount our solar panels on, fingers crossed. But what do you think? For £94.99 in 20 minutes work. I think it's a good job. I'm very happy with them. Don't know what we're doing next because we've got a list of stuff getting delivered or already being delivered. But this is going to start changing rapidly over the next few days, and it's going to start looking like what I envision in your mind. But yeah, orange short wheelbase Sport Transit Custom accessory #1 installed. So, quickly moving on with the conversion. I've took the bulkhead out and I want to talk about this quickly because this all links to what we're doing. I need to run the cables through and behind the bulkhead because we've decided not to put a swivel on the passenger seat. I'm going to store as much as possible of the electronics and batteries underneath that seat. It's a massive area, it's really good. The bulkhead as well at the lower part, there's a 2-part section, does have an access panel on the Transit Customs. I want to keep all that. It's already there, let's use it. But I want to open the space up in the back. Obviously I'm going to have people travelling in the back, we can't lock them in like a prison, so we're going to make a picture frame. So anything inside the green lines, that is going to come out. I'm cutting that now. I've pre-drilled the corners. I'm using a metal jigsaw blade because what we're doing is cutting through the carpet line on the inside as well, so the whole thing comes out at one, and then we're going to re-carpet it so it looks nicely finished. But that is going to be sort of the hole we're going to gain in the back of the vehicle. This part here isn't really seen because the driver's seat's here, passenger seat's going to be here, but it means we can turn around, obviously talk to the kids or whoever we're transporting, and it's going to give a lot more light into the vehicle, but it is going to keep everything nice and strong around that area. I didn't want a massive opening, I only wanted this part, and when it gets in the van you'll understand why I've done this when the seats are sitting in front of it. So now we're going to get cutting, get this out, tune back in once it's all cutted out. Now you can see exactly what the hole looks like when this is removed. So that is that cut out. When you're cutting anything with contours in, be very careful, especially with a jigsaw. You've got a short blade, remember it's coming up and down, it can skip over the top of the material and bounce out. So you've just got to be nice and gently, take your time with it. That is what we're removing. And that's going to be the opening in the van. Looks a bit strange out the van, but when that's carpeted in and the lower panel's on, you'll understand why we've done it. People will normally take the bulkhead out if they're putting a single passenger seat, then it can come round and get in. Or if you're fitting swivel bases for the front seats to swivel round, that's when the whole bulkhead needs to come out. We aren't doing that because we're going to need some fixing points here for something special right at the end of this build, which is going to be quite good, especially for the kids. The kids are going to love it. But yeah, stay tuned for that. There is a reason behind why we're doing all this. Don't want to disclose it just yet though. But yeah, if anyone wants a bit of metal, you can have this because this is going in the scrap bin now. When I'm washing windows. So this is where we're going to be cutting out windows. This is the big job. Everyone gets a bit scared and goes, oh, I'm cutting a hole out my van. You can't go, well, you can go wrong. But you've got to do something really silly to get it wrong. The best thing you can do is prepare nicely. I'm drying everything off. I'm going to stick more masking tape, a bit of cardboard off here. When we start cutting the window out, you do your top first. A couple of bits of masking tape on that to hold the panel in. Because when you get round here, that panel's going to fall out and scratch all your van. That's the big thing. The rest of it is pretty self-explanatory. But we're going to jump inside and show you what you need to do. Windows. As you can see, we have the clips in for the factory fitted ply kit. We've removed them. They just literally slide on and off. We've removed them. Next thing is this brace. This is bonded onto the outer skin. I've already chopped the sliding door one off, but it's glued on to that. That's to make this stronger and to stop that flexing. And I suppose it's supposed to be a bit of a deterrent from someone cutting everything from the outside to break into your van. But anyway, so that gets chopped out. All I've done is mark that line with that line, straight edge, straight edge. We'll cut that out now, and that literally just peels off. Once we're at that stage, we're at the no going back stage. But we'll get this done first, then we'll start talking about the big job. People will be going, hey, seatsy seats. Yeah, the seats are going to get retrimmed. You can cover them if you want, but them sparks that's coming off there, by the time they reach the seat, are cool. People will go, he's doing it all wrong. I ain't bothered. This is the way to do it. I've had one of these in my hand since I was 15-year-old. I'm 37 now, so just bear with us. And there you go. Take the support out. That's part one. Part two is we're going to be cutting out here. It's already give you a line where to cut. Don't bother cutting down here because your window ain't going to fit. You're going to end up with a hole. Follow this. End of the day, this and this is the same panels that are used in the Tornado vans where they've got windows in. They're here for a reason. They're a marker. Cut that out. The window will come out. The other one will fit in nicely. That's what we're going to do. People have various ways of doing this. Some people will get a centre punch and start punching a couple of holes to join it up, so on the outside you can see the dents to copy from. Some people will get a hole saw for the different radiuses and put a hole saw in. That'll take your corner away for you, and then you can just slit along there. I don't know what way I'm going to do. I'm probably going to opt for the hole saw, I think, and get them corners in. And I can grind up to where I need to be and dress it off. I think that's what I want to do. So, let's go get the tools. I've opted for simple tool use. Same size hole saw all the way around. Cut out as much as you can with angle grinder. Try to show this so anyone at home can do it, and it's not that scary. When we get to this stage, we're then going to get a grinding disc or grinding pad, and then we're just going to grind this flush to this line all the way around. And then we'll move on to the preparation work. But I'm going to cut the other window out, the sliding door, get all the cutting done, and then we'll do all the grinding together. And then we'll do the sealing, which is putting a bit of edge prep on there just to stop any rust and stuff. So we're going to jump onto the next window, but now we've got a little bit of light in, which is good. But it's very simple to do, just take your time. Hole saw, 4 corners, join it up with a slitting disc. Out. Next one. That it took me just over 1 hour to cut both windows out. We've filed everything back, we've sanded it back, that's ready now. Just to prep the edge with a bit of paint to seal it for any rust. This will be getting a rubberized strip on the outside, and then it's going to get carpeted on the inside. But with basic tools, it took us just over an hour, cut both of them out, ready for the window installation. But before that, we're going to run around the back now. Well, not run, but we'll walk. I'm just going to strip a couple of more of these panels off. There's a panel there, we're going to get that covered. I'm going to take the door stairs off, because the worst, I hate this carpet lining business, but we're going to carpet line each side now. We're not doing the sliding door, we're not doing the back door, obviously we're doing the panels, but we're going to get that carpet lined, and then we'll put the windows on. So we're going to stop the window installation for now, do this. I'll show you what we have done, because it's creeping in the background. We've carpet lined that, well I have, over the weekend. So we've done the back face of the bulkhead, we've cut that wall out. It's going to have an LED light strip running along the bottom, shining up. I don't know if I'm going to link that in with the courtesy lights or its own switch, most likely the courtesy lights. I've also done the bottom panel's been done. I've installed a high output USB-C with a voltage meter just there, just because it's easy to have. The batteries are going to be around there anyways, so that's going to link straight into the 12 volt sort of bus fuse box. But we've done the outside, we've done the inside, so that's what you'll see from the front when you're looking at the windscreen. That's what you see from the back. So both bits have been recarpeted, glued back together, the bottom bit's been done, so when we're looking there, it's still going to have a bulkhead, but enough of it open so the kids can see out, let the light in and everything else. But you're going to have to leave us now, because I'm onto the job I really hate, which is the carpet lining using the 4-way stretch carpet. It's a horrible job. Come back and hopefully I've not made a mess of it. This will take longer than cutting the windows out. More insulation, here we go. Because our boards that come with the van were that good, I've made some templates out of cardboard. I'm going to put some of this 6mm insulation on these boards, because then I'm going to suede wrap them, which is then going to thicken the board up, insulate it, and it'll have a better touch feel, if you know what I mean, when it's on. So that'll be looking like that, then it'll get fully wrapped, use the original fixings and everything. I'm going to try and keep the van looking as close to OEM as possible. It's not going to go for a luxurious camper van look. This is going to be a bit of a rugged vehicle where we can throw bikes in it, parts, tools, everything, do you know what I mean? So I'm going to try and keep it OEM. If I damage one of these panels as well, I can take it off, make a new one. Simple as that. If we use a massive panel, you've got to take everything out to replace it. These literally will pop on and off the way it comes from the factory. So that's the way we're going for it. But I don't want to throw this MDF out. Technically we should make it out with some 6mm ply. I don't want to. I'm going to keep it out of the MDF. I'm going to put some 6mm insulation on just to make it thicker and a bit more of a padded touch. So I'm going to draw around it, cut around it. I have just found an old tool. So instead of using the scissors or standing knife, this will whip through straight away. Completed. I'm not taking the glory for these. Grace has done these. I've done the easy work. She's pulled all the suede around, made sure it all goes the right way. And she's done all the panels. I've just got to punch the holes in when we pre-fit them. But them are the original Ford. I've still got Ford stamped on the back of them. But they're ready to get installed once I've done that horrible job in there, which I want to get Grace to help us with as well. Right, just before we jump into the carpet lining, I've took everything off that I don't want to get full of glue or carpet over. I've now started running the main electrics. This is going to be a basic electric setup. I've been on the phone to Batteries and Solar today. They're a customer of ours, we're a customer of theirs. They're sorted us out with a solar package. It's going to be two 200-watt solar panels on the roof. That's going to come down and run everything. I have a lithium battery, 200 and something amp, can't remember off the top of my head. All that's going to go underneath the passenger seat, so all the wires are going to run back into there. So before I start the carpet lining, I've run all the cables through. So we're going to have a cigarette lighter and USB socket there, and on this side we are going to have a USB socket there, I think. But I'm going to put the cable in. If not, we can always tie it away. I've ran the cable for the LED light for the bulkhead. That's going to connect into that plug up in that corner, which turns these on. So when we open the sliding door or the back doors, that's going to illuminate up. The only thing that I haven't pulled in is the solar cables, which will come through the roof down that center channel and along, but we can do that after. This is what we're going to use. Very simple, very cheap, does the job for what we need. Open it up. So you're going to have all your neutrals in there, positives or loads. That's then going to get fused with the right fuse. If the fuse blown, it's going to light up there. It's a simple box, but for basic 12 volts, USBs and stuff like that, that's very simple. All the high-end stuff's going to come with a solar panel kit, which is going to be linked to the Bluetooth phone, Victron unit, I believe it's going to be. So we can monitor what we're pulling in and what we're drawing from it. But technically that's where everything's going to go into. All these cables are going to get mounted into there. Hopefully, how many hours we've got left? 3 hours and 15 minutes. I'm going to say that's enough. I'm going to go and get working now. Come back in 3 hours. Let's see how far we are or aren't. We're back after them 3 hours, and it's fair to say I'm not very good at carpet lining, but we've put that suede panel in to make sure it's going to cover some of my cock-ups. It's took us over 2 hours to put that one side on in one piece, but I'm happy with it. You need to remember as well that when you're doing carpet lining like that, probably 70% of it's hidden with panels, especially that side. If I was putting the kitchen would cover 90% of it, but I like it to look as good as I can, and I think I'm happy with it, put it that way. That was the hard side. This side's still to do, which I'm not looking forward to. But I'm going to crack on with it because this is the job I've hated. So I want to get it finished and I can step back and go, at least that part's done. But as it stands, the suede panel's in. That's going to look nice when it's all clipped into place. And yeah, I'm happy with it. So, not as much done as I wanted to do today. I overestimated and I didn't achieve what I wanted. But tomorrow's a new day. I'm going to stop back a bit. So when you come back, let's see what I've done. I might have fell asleep or I might have cracked on and got a bit more done. Stay tuned to find out.
One eternity later.
Wow. It was a late night last night. Carpet lining, horrendous. I'm not very good at it and I think it's really, really hard to do. Anyway, I've managed it. That there was easy because it was off the van. That looks great. Not one mistake, perfect. Job's a good one. This has been a nightmare. I have made a couple of cock-ups. It's really hard. Once it stretches, there's no going back. There might be some hints and tips and all the rest of it. Fire them at us, because I will be doing some more vans. And as it stands, I am not doing another carpet lining in a vehicle. Period. But it was a late one last night. Coming today, I've pulled the electrics through. We'll joint them up. We'll put some insulation, recycled bottles, as you can see behind here. Talking through the electrics that we've got in, we are keeping it minimal, basic to do what I need it to do. So at the back here, we have got 2 USBs. Under here, a volt, tells us what the voltage is. It's currently running off a little Milwaukee battery, just to make sure everything's connected. We haven't pulled any wires out. Cigarette lighter, that's gonna be for our power bank or fridge. On the other side, in exactly the same position, just so we've got access either side, we can have 2 lots of whatever going on. Red button is the death button, that blows it up. Only can, no, that's for the rear lights. So I'm planning on having 2 1-meter-ish LED strip lights that way and another 2 in front. That's going to be controlling the rear ones. There'll be exactly the same switch up front to control the front ones, depending on where you are, sliding forward and back. Do you need lights at the back? No, knock them off. We've also got some fast 65 watts USB chargers on either side. They fit lovely in the little groove in the vehicle. All that's fitted in. I'm buzzing with it. It's starting to look nice. Unfortunately, we can't finish these because the panel pins that come from factory are too small. So I've ordered some from Amazon around about 12mm longer. Today we are going to move on to the Caravan's pocket storage for the sliding door. So we're going to get that fitted in a minute. The windows I'll show you them. We started them yesterday, and this is what I banged on about. You can't do things in stages. You can, but in my opinion, you don't do them right. And I know there'll be plenty of things I haven't done right in here. Everyone's opinion matters, blah, blah, blah. We'll carpet lined it, so we took the carpet on the inside here, then we'll put the rubber seal on there, then we'll put the sealant on and stick the window on. I haven't done that yet because I'm ran out of the heavy duty masking tape that we're going to tape the window up with to stop any drooping. Should be a nice even gap round here. From this side, it's looking really good. That's landed in there. That is the world's first single benchy RS sliding rail system. This is going to be its own unique layout. Hopefully my vision is going to look as good as it looks in my head in real life. That's been laser cut and bent this morning. Test fitted loose, so everything's still loose. It's going to come out, get cleaned up, welded up in the paint shop. I'm going to insulate the floor and then I'm going to drop it back down and then start getting some fixing points in between everything else we're doing here. But we're now going to move on to the Caravan's sliding door storage pod. Let's do some unboxing. Ford Transit Custom sliding door storage pod supplied by Caravans. Let's unbox it, see what it's all about. This should be, like the roof rails, a 5-minute fit. Voila! And there we have it. That's going to fill in all the apertures of the door. Bang! And it's just fixed on with the same panel pins that the panels are fitted on. It should be that easy, there's no instructions. There's no instructions, like. So let's see how it fits. I'll meet you around the other side. It fits like a glove. Do you want to come round here and have a look, Mr. Cameraman? Let's see if we can get these holes lined up. Like I say, zero instructions with this because it's that easy to fit. Out the box, get your panel pins, line your hole up, somewhat like that. Lovely job. I'm going to open the sliding door in a minute, I think. That's a fella. Get that one in there. Bang. It's not bad, that, is it? I don't know how, I think it was about 170 quid this for a bit of plastic. People go, that's a lot of money. Storage is key in camper vans. It's quite strong as well, like, to be honest, and it finishes that door card off. You don't want sway panels all over, especially on this door that's getting ragged about all the time. We have got this panel here that was plastic. We've wrapped that in suede as well. Let's go. I'm just going to throw the panel pins in, clip that back in, and we'll see what it looks like. That is it. Quick fix. How long do you reckon that took? 5 minutes? Yeah. People will complain it's a little bit expensive, but excellent quality, easy to fit, loads more storage in the van. For me, it's a winner. Officially tired. I'm having a quick tidy up. That is enough on this van for now. As you've seen, from a panel van, it's come along a long way. It's not your factory conversion that a lot of people are doing. It's my conversion with a twist. So it does take a bit longer, but I'm really happy with the progress I've made so far. But as it stands, my knees are sore, my back's hurting, and I need some rest. Keep watching, because like you've seen, there's going to be big changes very quick. And hopefully, we're going to have a little camper van very soon. So over the last few weeks, we've took this Ford Transit Custom panel van and started work on it to convert it into our ultimate adventure vehicle. We have covered a bit of carpet lining, we have suede lined some of the panels, we've ran some cables through, we've cut the windows out and a few other little jobs as well. But this week we're going to get the windows in, the spoiler on, and also the floor insulated, which I have already done, and we're going to go straight onto that and tell you how I've done it, why I've done it, and how easy it is to do. Then it'll be the winter time. So it's a lot of sticking this week, so stay tuned. If you haven't seen the other videos, after this one, skip back to them and give them a watch. So everyone, this is organised chaos. We've got bits of spoilers, 2 sliding windows, and the floor. I did have some spare square pads, insulation pads around about that big. That's what I've used on the floor. People will opt to do a metre wide roll all out in one. I didn't want to waste them, so I've utilised them on the floor. Then I went over the top with some insulation duct tape, the tin foil type stuff, seal all the joins up, nice and neat. So that is now ready for the RS floor to get mounted into when it's all built. First thing I want to move on to is the windows, which I've started working on this morning. So I'll take you around and tell you what I've done. We had the cutouts done, we've shown you how to cut the windows out. I've then sealed all the raw edges, put the knock-on rubber on, That goes over the internal and the external door skin, and then I've put some primer on the outside. It's not neat, it's going to do the job. The main thing is when we start putting the sealant on, ideally you want to start here, run all the way around, and then flick it out a little bit to stop any water ingress. I thought we would have started here, but apparently on the video we'll start here. That's what we're going to move on to very soon. I've put some masking tape on the roof, so when we get the window on, we can hold it in place so we've got no droopage. So there you go, because you want to keep everything nice and level with an even gap all the way around this recess. So that's where we're at with things. Hopefully, in a couple of hours, windows will be in, it'll be left to set as long as possible. The rear spoiler will be on, but we're going to move to that. We're going to take the stickers off the roof, the little bit here, clean that down. Whilst we've got the bonding agent out, we're then going to glue the spoiler on. That there is going to make the van look totally different as well. But a little tip, I've put me tubes of window sealant in the sink in some warm water so it's easier to come out. So I want to crack on, tune back in with us in a little while when we're ready to fit the windows. See you in a bit. The windows are in, they slide, they do what they want. We've got them taped up, we're going to let them set. So we're not going to rock the van too much. But what we're going to do is fit these bad lads. That fits on there somewhat like that. That's what we're going to do. And it's going to look a hell of a lot better. But I'm going to have to take these stickers off first. Same process as the windows, keep it all clean. It has come with a couple of ticky tacks. We're going to use this, we've got this bonding agent, we're going to do the job properly and get it whacked on with some glue. So that's my next job. We're going to set the GoPro up, cameraman's going on his dinner, and you're going to watch me peel stickers off and stick a spoiler on. And when he comes off his dinner, hopefully the outside, what the hell's happened here? Look at that, I'll have to get that touched up. It's got windows in, it's got a spoiler on, happy days. Do we need help? Yes, we're not all perfect, but I'm having a good go at it whilst trying to do everything else in the background here at FWX. I think it's come on a bit over the last 4 or 5 days, hasn't it? Waiting for the panel pins to come in to pop the suede panels on. Forgot one thing. I thought about this last night whilst I was in the shower, because it's a bit of a surprise. Do you know what's going up the front with it? Forgot to put the feed in the back for the power. So I'm going to have to run a cable back down. So, because if not, I'd have panelled all that up and that, take it all back off to run a power cable into the back end of it. So there you go. Stay tuned if you want to see what we're talking about there. More secrets. But the windows are in. They will leak. Who cares? The kids can have a shower. Ding dang do. Spoiler time. Goodbye. So that's all the sticky business done. 2 windows in, spoiler bonded on, looks massively different. This has finally turned up, been lost in transit. It should be a front grille. We hope. With 3 lights in it. Boom. So, it's an OD. Not a Ford, it's an OD, but it has got 3 lights in. So we're going to get that on at some point. That can wait though, it's not important. It does have the rest of the letters to go on. But yeah, so it's got 3 running lights built into the grille. It's going to take away that front traditional grille. And that's off like a Ford Ranger type, which is going to change the look to the front end. And when they get the side step running boards on, it's going to look even better. But for now, we're not touching it. We're going to let everything bond and set correctly. I've got to go and find some at least 30mm long panel pins to go into the suede side panels. Hopefully I can find some very soon and get them all clipped in. And we need to put that secret wire in. Don't let's forget that. Extended pins, we've got some now on site. Factory ones are about 15mm, these are 25mm long. We're reusing the factory fittings, so we'll just slit the carpet, slit them back in, and hopefully it'll look like that. So that panel and the top bottom panel's on now, nice and secure. They are a lot thicker because we've insulated them. They've got foam back suede on as well, which is very nice. But I just want to show you a little bit of a tip, because you've got to compress them in to get them obviously past all the foam padding. What I've got there is a socket, so that is a 16mm socket, just the right size of the flange. You want to push that in, tap it in like that, and that'll pop it in. So you just need to get it compressed enough to tap the centre pin in. Same with that one. There we go. Top tip. So yeah, just a lot more to do. The back panels have got to go on. We've got to run that wire through now, so it's got to come along here, up here, and just dangle out of here somewhere. So I've got that to do as well. But yeah, hopefully you think that looks quite nice. We've just used the original pre-cut boards, insulated them, suede lined them, and I think it'll look very nice. Even though it's going to be a rugged vehicle, I did want to have a little bit of comfort when the kids are in the back and make it look a bit more executive and not like a carpeted van, basically. But I'm happy with the look, to be honest. For my first attempt, it's going well. So yeah, if I can do it, anyone can. The secret wire that I forgot to put in, let's get back to it. So we are going to be looking to, fingers crossed, mount this nebula projector up here. I want it on a bracket that comes down like that, so I can store it out the way. It can be played landscape, but apparently it might overheat. So we're going to put it on a lockable bracket that will come down, bang, on a 50-inch projector. That is one of the special features this van's going to have. But to get that to work, we are wiring in a HDMI cable. So you'll not be able to see it, but if you zoom in that corner, there is a HDMI port coming out of there. From there, we're going to run the HDMI cable all the way through, up and out here. And then it's going to have its own feed to the fuse box, its own projector feed. Now this is where it gets technical. This has a battery, so you can take this anywhere around. It's got 2.5 hour battery life. Put it anywhere, watch your film, jobs are good. I want it to be hardwired in, but it needs 46 or 42 watts of power. Our power outlets are only 36. So we have had to go for a bit of a booster pack, which fits into your cigarette lighter. So what I've had to do as well, the special wire that we put in Thursday, that comes out to here. We've then had to add a cigarette lighter, which this fits into. All this will be hidden away behind that compartment. That then powers this up to 40 odd watts. That then will give this enough power to run, but it's also going to have its own button, so it can turn the power on and off when needed, so it hasn't got continuous power to the transformer. So that's what we're going to wire in today. We're going to have the GoPro on, so in between this feed and the power pack there's going to be a little round button with a P on it that we're going to mount in a panel here, where you press that and that'll deliver the power to the USB-C into the projector, so it's got full power when we need it. At the moment we've got everything linked up, the little fuse board we'll put everything into. That is currently underneath the passenger seat, and everything, as you can see here, it's been tested All the switches are in, and it's all running off our little Milwaukee battery at the moment. We're still waiting for batteries and solar to dispatch our full electric kit, from solar panels to wiring, inverters, smart chargers, the lot. But at the moment everything is in. We've got these final wires to do, and then all we'll have to do is drop the solar cable wires in, down the panel, along, and then out under the seat. But for now, let's get this all wired in and tidied up. HDMI cable all fully fitted. So when we come back to this, we should have 2 wires coming out of here somewhere, HDMI cable and the USB-C power. And then there'll be a little button on one of these panels behind there that says P, or it's got the letter P, that you press on and off to deliver power up to there. Fingers crossed we can get it all in. But if you are looking to put a projector in, these are the best on the market. They've got built-in speakers, they've also got the license for the YouTube and Netflix and all the rest of it, so you don't have to add a Amazon Fire Stick. It's all built into the remote and everything. Really good quality, just overall good bit of kit. And if you are somewhere, you can take it off the mount and put it in your bedroom if you want, or take it in the house. It is fully wireless, great bit of kit. So, leave us to it, come back, and hopefully the big button with the P on is fully installed, and we can test the power coming out the top. So it's took us 3.5 weeks, but I finally got that wire from in that corner all the way around through there, through a minute hole in there. So we've got HDMI, fast charge, USB-C. I'm now just putting the projector button. I am putting this in as straight as I can, which will be good, just like that. Then we're going to wire it up, then we're going to test it, then we're going to be clipping all the custom made suede panels in to cover up the earth points, access to your lights, and then just to give big hole for any reason. That's just going to cover them nicely, because when you carpet it, the carpet sinks into that and it looks a bit naff. So we've just made some nice fitting panels, which are going to clip in with the same clips. You will see in the footage as well, it took us another 3 days to take out all the clips I put in, because I forgot to put the HDMI wire in. That's why it's very important to know what you're putting in. Doing a van in stages, yes, you can do, but you need to make sure you've got all the electrics, so everything you want to put in it, get it in there early days, because it is a nightmare to get back through it. But the button is just about nipped up, which is good. And then we're going to get everything wired up, tested, and then we shall go from there. That's all linked in. We've put the new suede panels, custom made, put them on, press that in, it's got a P on it. When it's on, that means it lit up. We should be getting that 40 to 50 watt output, charges your phone straight up, so we know everything's working in there. But like I said, I didn't want to keep it continuously on. I wanted to put it on a switch, which we have done, and that'll just turn everything off. But if there's any issues, it is wired all the way back to the fuse board underneath there, and that's where we're going to move on to next. I'm going to show you the fuse board. It's basic, but it just means everything's on its own line, so if one thing does blow, you're not losing USB outlets, your projector, or your lights. A lot of people will wire them into the same fuse. You want to separate it as much as possible, which we have done. We're going to move on to that next. So moving on to our distribution unit, we'll call it 12-volt fuse box. We'll open it up for you so you can see it. So at the moment we've got everything running on this Milwaukee battery, because we haven't got the main power source or batteries installed yet, but this will power everything we want. All the lights on, as you can see there. They are dimmable switches, keep your finger on them, lower the lights, keep your finger on, makes it brighter. But everything's linked in here, so we've got it marked up. Top one, that's for the lights. The middle one is for the projector that runs to the back, which you've just seen. And then the bottom one is for all the USB outlets. Like you see here, all these can be turned on and off as well to isolate them. Well, that is a basic fuse board, but that's the way you want to do it, because if you have a surge or an issue or a blowout, you're going to know where it's blown out at and just replace that fuse you need. Hopefully in the next few days we'll have our full electric kit from battery and solar, and we can start getting them solar panel wires in, and then we're going to make a custom board to start mounting everything onto nice and neat and securely underneath the passenger seat. So previous in the video we talked about van shades. We were going to go up to van shades in Barnsley, but because I'm that busy and Jack up there is that busy, we haven't been able to spend time with each other. We will visit there at some point, so bear that in mind. But we've had the delivery of the van shades for this Transit Custom. Before you start going green and orange, stick with us and see how it turns out in the end. So there we have them. I think that's called fern, something like that. So it's anthracite carpet to match this stuff. Fern green for the actual blind colour. Our decal guy, Evolution Signs Gary, he is obviously going to do that in a satin, and then he's got the sample of that blind to match with his vinyl. So that green is going to be on the inside and the outside, as well as some of the upholstery, fingers crossed. But today, windows is in, they're sealed, we're happy with them. Water tested, happy days, no leaks. We're going to show you how to fit one of these. The notch out is for the sliding door. That one is going to go on there. But I will show you how good of a fit these are. So I've got it the right way. If I push that in there, that's basically it. We have got self-tappers in here. There's 4 points, I think, that we're going to whack them into using the impact drill, and then there's some black caps. Basically push it in, self-tap it in. Easy as that. 4 screws per one. Don't care what anyone says, that finishes the van off. Great quality, blackout, thermal properties, the lot. Van shades, do all the work so you don't have to, except put 4 screws in per blind. Really happy with the finish on that. Even happier on the other side. So we've carpeted round the lip of there. So when you look down there, you can't really see anything. But I was not too sure how deep the plastic pod was in there. So if you get the camera inside of there, you can see that the plastic mould touches the windowsill, just there. Eagle eyes will go, oh, he sealed the window on the inside. I've done that because of 2 reasons. A, I don't want any leaks. B, the window curve wasn't as nice as what I wanted it to. And also, we had to hammer this to get this window to fit the panel, and there were some gaps. We put plenty of black stuff on the outside to seal it, but I wanted to make sure as well that this was nice and sealed in here, because when you're driving along, if you've got a little hole, the wind or water is going to come round the van under the inside of the window and then start making noises. Also, you don't want any water in there when it starts freezing, because it expands, breaks the seal. So it's sealed on the outside, and I've sealed it on the inside as well, because I wanted to. A lot of people don't, but I have, because I've gone belt and braces with it to make sure nice and tight fit. Like I said, we've been out in it, we've collected some stuff yesterday, and it was lashing down. We've had no leaks, no wind noise, they're nice and solid. So we're going to move on to fitting these, where you're going to come back to us with them both fitted for the final outcome. But van shades, 100% worth fitting in your van. Do I get discount now? Jack, 10% discount? I'll tell you something. Do you know what a man needs all this time in life? Bit of length. I'll be back. I wish we could go to the shop and get an extra 6 inches just off the shelf. Be alright, wouldn't it? So anyway, when you're fitting this, you need an 8mm socket for them bad lads and a bit of length. See how many times I drop this bad lad. Should have a magnetised bit as well, but we can't afford that here. We're tools up the road and not supply us. Something's happened. She's in. Why have I got bits all over? So on either side, I've done the bottom one. Push in, slip off, put your window through. Jack, can you not pre-drill these? Why are these not pre-drilled? Right. Gone through a cable. Lights are gone off. Oh, got the guitar out. Hey! Get you some of that. I will say, oh, he's Postman Pat. I will say, he must have thought I knew what I was doing, so I didn't get any destruction with these, unless I was supposed to watch his video. Oh. Something happened. There you go. We have a blind. Let's put the black caps on, even though I can't flipping reach them. Oh, the guitar's playing again. Thank you for watching. That's how you fit van shades. Goodbye. So that is it. Both sides are in, just like that. Screws are on, black caps are on, fully fitted. That is that door finish now. Suede panel there, caravans, storage pocket in, van shades, anthracite carpet, fern green I think it is, thermal blind. They have just brought a new blind system out, which is this one. Thermal properties, blackout properties, all the rest of it. Really good, simple bit of kit to fix. Better than the curtains on reels and all the rest of it. 15 minutes from unboxing to being fitted. Jobs are good. Van shades, get them bored. Last job of the week, we're going to get that grill out and replace it with a new Ford grill. Aftermarket Ford, that is. We haven't looked under the bonnet yet, have we? Let's have a look. Oh. Clean as a whistle. It is clean. Get the camera in there. How clean that is. Oh. Not bad. This van has done 43,000 miles. Very happy with that. Don't know how the hell this comes out, but we're just going to give it a pull and hopefully it pops out. So, we'll see what happens. This shouldn't come out this easy, should it? It's probably alright. It's literally just fell out on my hands. I want to sell that. I want to put that on eBay with that floor liner and then wheels. So there you go. If you're looking for a new front end because you're driving, you've smashed your Transit up, and some nice sport wheels and a short wheelbase trunk liner, get in touch. They just come with instructions, this one.
I don't think anything we've bought so far.
See, this has got little lights in, but we're not putting the lights in because I don't want to. Well packaged, like. Anyway, OD. Odd. I'm presuming we'll screw them in from the back. We might have to go inside for this, put it on the bench, and I'll screw the F and the R. I think there. That was well thought, because I'm not very bright. I'll have to screw that in. So, we shall go into the workshop and get screwing. But hopefully, if it's come out as easy as that, it should clip in just easy. But I don't want them lights in. I don't want to cut into the wiring loom. So I want to leave them off. What do you reckon I should do? Keep them in. Shall I wire them in? I'll leave them. We can unplug it. It will look good. Because they'll be on. I don't want to, you know, wiring in cars these days, if you cut into it, has a bit of a bloody fit. So I don't want to knock the wiring loom up. Right. Looking good. It spells the right word anyway. Nice and gentle, because this will just obliterate this plastic. You could switch it out, like 3D print some different letters. Like nice out the front. I think you'll get ranked for that. They're all in. Anyway, put them in my pocket for later. Washing machine loves them.
I mean, you can just unscrew them out, to be fair.
I want to leave them in so it looks like lights, but I don't know if I want to wire them in. Let's go to the van and have a quick look and see where the wiring is. I don't know if I'm wiring these in or not yet, but I'm going to pull the cable through and put some terminals on the end to keep it nice and dry. So the first thing I want to do is make sure these clips fit. It's upside down. Put it right the right way, don't I? What else did I put in upside down? I'm not all perfect here, you know. Imagine if I clipped in. I put it upside down. Anyway, have a look at this magnitude. I don't want wires to be on the show. Can I pull that tight? Might have to go and get the old Fabrico tape up, because you can see a bit of red. So all I'm going to do, put that through there for now, and then go underneath that, adjust it. Normally I'd just splice straight into the positive and negative and wire them up, but these CAN bus systems are a nightmare, so a bit of help would be nice. Can we do it? What's the best way of doing it? Because on this occasion I don't know. We can all guess it, but we don't want to make it worse. So that there is near where the lights are. I can look at a wiring diagram and find out what number 2, 4, 6, 8 is for the side lights, and I know that that's the feed for the side lights, and then obviously just put it into a neutral, but I don't know if I want to do it. The main worry is I don't want to see cables, which we can see there. That's what I don't want. So can that come a bit more?
Garbage up.
I'll just have it wired into a little Milwaukee battery in the corner.
Yeah.
I love this tape.
That's old school insulation tape, isn't it?
Talk wiring loom tape.
Yeah, proper old school. Yeah.
I use that though for best plasters in the world. That's the best thing to use. That. If you put yourself, stick that on. Seeing that the other one just fell off. Oh, that's come off. This bit here, just pulling all that out there. Aftermarket parts don't fit. Know what to do about that. It fits nicely, but the bumper's popped out a little bit here. I can't get the clip back in. It's probably been a write-off. Anyway, that's in. Wiring's through there. We're going to cap them off, tape them up, and then we'll wire that in at another date if we want to. That is another week here at FWX. You've been watching this epic adventure vehicle take shape. Been a bit of a slow week. I wanted more to get done with it, but we've had a couple of extras we've added, which slowed down the delivery of the solar panels and batteries and all the rest of it. Next week, you're going to see all the solar panels, the battery, the inverter, everything else arrive, fingers crossed, and the floor going in with the flooring, and a little bit more style, and hopefully we'll get them running boards on. But it all depends how far we can get in that week, because time is precious here. But we've got a lot of little bits done. Thank you very much for watching. Tune back in next week to see if we can get the battery in, running boards on, and the sliding floor at least bolted in. Enjoy what you're doing this weekend. See you next weekend. The adventure van is in full build now, but we're going to throw some twists in that build. We're going to make this into a cinema van. Follow us to show you how we're going to make that happen. It's going to involve getting the floor in, getting the twin seats in, getting the big ass solar panels on the roof. So we've got the power to projector and make everything work beautifully. Follow along, it's going to be epic. Job one, let's jump straight onto it. Twin sliding floor system over here. It's just come out the paint shop. You've seen it get cut, you've seen it get welded. Let's get it in the van. This has been pre-cut, designed to fit around Ford Transit short wheelbase floor. Hopefully when it goes in, it's going to touch nice and neat in the middle. Then we can start looking at mounting points underneath the vehicle to get it bolted in. Let's get on it. So, twin sliding floor system, floor pan, whatever you want to call it. We haven't even got a name for it because it's brand new. Fits like a glove. Next we're going to move on to what flooring we're using, but we're going to go around the back and measure up how long we need the floor to be. Hopefully it's 8 foot, which is 2,440 millimeters. So the idea with the floor, it's going to have to be 2 bits due to the width of the Transit. I'm wanting to put a centre joint in with a twist, but we need to find out first from the bulkhead to there. Look at that. You'd have thought I'd measured that 8 foot, which is 2,440 millimeters. So the length of the wood should be good.
That's what she said.
This is what we've ordered in, and this is what we've got in. This is 15mm Hexa resin coated ply, very lightweight. I'm hoping that the true 8x4 sheets. There you are. Hopefully that measurement you've just seen down there is exactly the same as that. And the idea is we're going to cut the wheel arch, all the rest of it. That's going to be one piece. I'm then going to route it in on our CNC machine that's been cutting a lot of plastics. Your channel for a full length or at least 2 metre strip lights that's wired in off the courtesy light. So when you open the door, there's a centre strip that lights up That's also going to hide the join of the two panels. Fingers crossed. The hardest part of this job is getting the floor bolted down level, getting the floor on level, and then bonded correctly, because we don't want a lip. It's got to be nice and flat all the way down. That is the hardest part of this job. People might think getting the measurements right, it is. It's going to be trial and error to make sure it's perfect, or just like the floor pan, it will be, and it's going to look tremendous. I'm trying to make it as rugged as possible. That there can get wiped down, it's non-slip, easy to clean, and hard wearing. So that is the flooring we're going to be using. I've got 5 sheets, there's going to be more of the van made from it. That's going to be further on in the week. Let's concentrate on getting these bolted in and secured properly. So we've done some further works on the bulkhead for the projector screen. All of that is in now, so I'm going to show you what we've done and how it works. So you'll have seen the previous video, we've put all the wiring in for the rear projector. We've cut the bulkhead out, carpet lined it, which you've seen. We've also made this laser cut bit of steel and then carpet wrapped it, just so it fits around here. It finishes the opener off nicely. We've then installed a 50-inch projector screen. I've got a lock on there. That drops down. I'll then clip in there like that, and that is your projector screen, where the projector is going to be housed on the roof at the rear of the vehicle. Nice and easy, goes back up, locks into place, and that is it. That is our mobile cinema. Just about completed. I want to test this over the weekend, get it charged up, and then see how it works. So hopefully next week we're going to have a mobile cinema on wheels. So the floors are in. They're not bolted in yet because we've run out of time. We've also had the big delivery for batteries and solar, which is our full electronics kit. First thing I want to show you is the solar panels. We have got two 200 watt smoked out black solar panels. First problem is they don't fit the van, they're too big, so I've got to be creative to get the full 400 watts on there, because that's what I want. Moving into the van, this is everything we've had delivered. We're going to start with the battery, FoxGen 230 amp, 12-year warranty, lithium battery, great bit of kit. We've then been supplied with battery terminals, DC to DC charger with the wiring kit, all Victron parts we're using in this build, smart solar with the wiring kit, and the twin connectors to connect both the panels together. Solar panel fitting brackets if we need them, some sticker flex just to bond them to the roof as well as bolt them. And then we've got the pure sine wave Victron inverter to power the special things that we're putting inside this vehicle. So I thought it was going to be an easy fix of drilling the hole, putting some wires through. It's not. We've got solar panels that are far too big for the van. Can we make it work? Keep watching. We are back. The roof rails have come back off. We've took the centre section out the roof rails because we haven't got enough width. Last week it was all about your length. This week it's about your width. We haven't got enough width. So what we're going to do is we've joined these two together, connecting them up to make 400 watts. We're going to go on the roof like that, width-wise, and they're going to sit nicely just under the roof rails. So from above, it's just going to look like a big-ass solar panel roof, which will get an upstairs shop when it's all fitted. Well, fingers crossed, I've done my measurements right. We can get all of it connected up now, lift it on, pull through the roof, the gland on the roof to stop any water ingress, and they're on. We're not going to be going silly with fixings because the roof rail is going to sit on top of there and push that against the roof, and then we're going to have a fixing plate here and a fixing plate there, and it isn't going anywhere. It looks like we've fixed the problem this morning. It is taking longer than I thought, which it always does with campervan builds, but hopefully in the next couple of hours we'll get a bird's eye view of one big ass roof solar panel. Let's crack on with it. The double solar panels on, connected into one, wired up, we hope, because I'm not taking it back off again. It's now clamped down underneath the roof bars. We've put some neoprene foam so that obviously separates from the roof and the solar panel. So at the moment that's clamped into place. We're then going to fit some brackets with some self-tapping screws, some sticker flex around the holes, just in case. That is, I reckon I can go on the motorway with that, it's not coming off. But we want to make sure it is safe, it is secure, and it's solid. So when everyone goes home, I'm going to start putting the brackets on, and then the next time you tune in, that should be signed off. I hope. So today has been and gone. Been in since 4:30. We have been super busy with what's going on behind us. I haven't got much done, but I've got some very important things, little things done that will help make the bigger electrical situation come together quicker. But first of all, we've got the 2 brackets. We've had to make these because the brackets that we've got supplied by Batteries and Solar are lovely and strong and nice and neat, but the way we've had to fit that, it's not going to work. So we've made our own. That's for the rear. That's going to go on, lip over the top of the solar panel, come down to the van, fix into the solar panel, fix into the van. Same for the front one. Front one is a little bit different. That is going to go on like so, to the front of the vehicle. So it's a bit of a windbreak, so it's not just hitting something solid. It's going to come up and miss the top of the van. So them are going to get fitted tomorrow when I'm back in. Moving on to something that we've made for underneath the driver's seat. I've done my measurements, everything should fit. But what we have here is the power station for that 400 watt solar. So we've used some 15mm hex resin ply board, whatever it's called, and we've cut out a basic base board to mount everything onto. So if you can see there, we've routed in a 3mm pocket. That then takes the battery lovely. We're going to have a battery strap come around there to secure that. This is going to get secured to the van floor and grounded too. We've then got the battery. Lithium battery, I've checked it, you can mount these on its side or upwards, just not upside down. We've then got the non-isolated DC to DC charger. You can get an isolated version, that's mainly for boats with a fiberglass hull where you can't get a ground. Then we've got the solar charger unit on top of here. We've just made a box to upstand around the pure sine wave 800 inverter. That's going to go in the van and all get wired in outside of the van. It doesn't look like it'll fit, but I'm sure it will. Touch wood. But let's go and show you the electrics I've done and the wiring in the fuses inside the van. That black cable there is the neutral from the battery. That's just going to get mounted directly to the battery. Nice little hole through the back of the seat base. That's going to run along and obviously into the DC charger. Then we've got our main battery cable. On these, they have got secondary slots on the side, so you don't have to go directly on the battery. Really good. This one's got one, I've forgotten the name for it, it's got a term, but it's basically like an accessory point so you can get onto it. It has got a 60 amp fuse, but you need to take the seat out to get rid of it blows. So what we've done is we're going to come off it, but we put our own fuse in line with that, slightly less than what that one is, or should be. So that is, if I get my wires right, that is going to come onto that accessory point, come down the side of the van. We're going to have access to that fuse underneath the passenger seat, and then that's going to go into the DC charger. When we get them linked up, we can then power it on, get the app downloaded, and tune the DC charger into what battery we've got to what amps we've got in the van, so it all works nice and neat. Next thing we've done is we've pulled the solar wires down, which you've just seen. They're going down there, along, through here. They're going to come out of here. We've fused that as well. Can't remember what fuse I've used. I don't know if it's a 50 amp, but that's fused as well. So if there's any issues, it'll go from there. It'll not send the problem all the way through into the system. So that's it, basically lined up. That is all the electrics in the position we need them. We've just got to get that inside of that with the fuse board mounted as well. And then hopefully we're all powered up and we can check that the solar's drawing stuff in, the battery's recharging when the vehicle is running, and then we should be on the home straight of roof, lights, floor, 2 single seats. The last job is going to be the slide out bike tray. So stay tuned. If you've watched us from the start, great. If you haven't, go back and watch how we've got to this stage. There's some good bits, some bad bits, but all in all, it's coming along. And hopefully the projector needs to be powered on tomorrow. And as you can see, we're far from it. So I'm going to go home, have some sleep, regroup tomorrow and see if we can get that power to the projector and see if we can get something on the projector screen for tomorrow to make them happy. But other than that, we're bitting and bobbing. We're trying to still get the work out at the back end there, and we're still trying to build a van. It's going well, I'm happy with it. I'm getting my head around this Victron system. It is a little bit complex. It's got to be wired in correctly for it all to work, but once it is working, it looks after itself and it looks after you. Shout out to Batteries and Solar again, putting that pack together with all the wires, all the fuses, everything you need. to get that looking like that. I've just been a bit creative with how I'm going to mount it under there because I want to be able to get rid quick. It's hidden out the way, but obviously if there's any maintenance needed, I can get my hands on it straight away. Another plus as well, because we've got the space under there, we're now going to insulate that panel. I was going to put door pockets in it, but by the time I've made the door pockets, they're not going to have that much space. So I'm just going to wad it out, insulate it, and put another black suede panel on. Hopefully that'll be on tomorrow. So the sides are done, the electrics are all pulled in now, and we should start making some big sort of steps ahead for the start of the next episode where the roof and the floor should be going in. So there we go, I've already set myself up for the next one, haven't I? But that's what needs to happen. So the next thing is more work on this, plug the projector in. We're getting there. I think we're past halfway, are we? I'd like to say we're past halfway. Bear in mind we haven't designed, created, or even looked at the seat beds that are going in yet. But that's what we do best, and it shouldn't be a problem. So you're on the other one. Welcome to this week's episode here at FWX on the Adventure van build. Solar panels are on. This was a late job Thursday. Me and Jordan stopped back. We've got them bolted to the vehicle, then bolted to the panels. They're not going anywhere. Everything's watertight. That is the roof works complete. The wires have been pulled through, which you've seen. That brings us on to the, what we're going to call it, electrical management system. The big power pack that we're building that will go underneath the passenger seat. That's what we're going to move on to because we want to get all the wires connected so we can start powering everything up and doing all the tests we need to do, from the solar panel to the inverter to the battery charger, all the way through to the projector feed that it needs to power the projector up. A lot going on this week. We had a slow week last week due to the fabrication process behind us, very busy behind us, so our attention's come from the Adventure van over there, but we're going to bring it all back onto this vehicle this week because we want to make a massive dent into the list of jobs we need to do. First thing we're going to move on to is the electrical management system that we've custom built for this vehicle. Once that's in and tested up, we're then going to move on to the floor, get it bolted in and get the final wooden floor fitted. Fingers crossed we can complete that this week. If not, we've failed, but we don't fail here, we'll just make things happen. So stay tuned, we're going to move on to the electrical management system now. Solar panels complete, I'm happy with them. Couldn't get any more watts on the roof if I tried. So you've seen the solar panels, they're going to just look after themselves now, which is great. We've done a proper job on them. They're going to give us free electricity. Well, not free because it cost a little bit to put them on there, but now they're on, they're forgotten about. It's going to generate nice electricity in the sun and in some dull areas as well, which is really good due to the technology now that solar panels have brought out. You don't have to be in direct sunlight to gain any electrical current. So moving on to what have we put in the van. First thing is the battery. The battery is in the van. Now I've done a bit of research on this battery. It has got its own Bluetooth module inside of it. It's also got its own heating system. I'll show you nearer to it, but I can show you on my phone now. Basically, if it gets too cold, it will warm itself up because lithium batteries have got to be at a certain temperature for them to operate and turn on. That's really good footage. I was gonna get the Victron 300 amp shunt, which goes in between the negative cable of your leisure battery. That then joins to the app, which shows you the current and voltage and everything else. We don't need that. I'm not gonna spend the 80 quid on it because I'd rather use the manufacturer's app, which we've got on our phone. So that is in. We've already briefly talked about this. DC to DC charger, that is taking the vehicle's engine current, pulling it through into the leisure battery at a stable rate, keeping it charged every time we have the vehicle on or on the move. Then we've got the solar charger. Not much to say about that. That brings in the current, does what it needs to do with it, make it steady, fire it back into the battery. That's self-sufficient. Both of them have apps on Victron, which I'll show you in a little while. Then we've got 800 watt pure sine wave inverter. That's got one 240 plug socket in. That hasn't got a built-in Bluetooth, but you don't need it. It's got a toggle switch on the back. It's got off, on or eco mode. We can just leave it on there for one, but I am just going to keep it off when we're not using it because there's no need. Then we have got this, which is basically a 60 amp breaker box for the solar panel. So if we're doing any works on the vehicle, we can isolate the solar direct from the wires coming into the vehicle. That's being fitted. Lastly, is what we've talked about before, is the projector. We will move on to that later on when everything's powered up and we can show you how that works and fingers crossed how good it is. But we're going to now switch to where the power pack was on here, to the front of the van, because if you can see over there, the passenger seat is out The power pack has now been lifted into the vehicle and bolted into the vehicle, where we're going to tune into next to see how it's all, fingers crossed, fitted into the vehicle. So, passenger seat has come out, 3 bolts and a nut, very easy to get out. What we have done here, I've got the popcorn ready for the cinema. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking ahead, you see. Anyway, some people will say, oh, you haven't put that right, you haven't put that in the right position. That's wired into my best abilities. I will, on this video, say I am not a qualified electrician. I am not giving out advice. I have Googled everything you see here and taken research over the 8 to 10 years I've been in the business of how to do things right and wrong. And I've done some things wrong in the past, and I've done a lot of things right in the past. That, to me, is fused in more places than it needs to be and works like a dream. So let's switch back round and go in there. So inside of here, there's a lot going on in a small space. We're going to start from the basics. We have got an isolator switch with a voltage reader. That there will cut all the power. That is the one isolator I've got on here for the main unit. Just going to leave it on. That's going to do its own thing. Then we've got the lithium battery, which I was talking about. So we're going to get the phone out now and show you the app, and it'll just bring up everything you need. So at the moment it's got 59%. We haven't really ran it. That's the battery come out of the box at 59%. I did test the projector yesterday just to make sure the power and everything the projector was absorbing was right on here, which was 43 watts, which is exactly what the projector is. I ran the projector for an hour on max settings, max volume, and it used 1% of the battery. That's no lie. So that's the app. I could have put a shunt in the negative cable and got a Victron shunt to make basically the Victron app have 3 different devices. I'm not doing that. Let's just use the manufacturer's one. We'll have no problems. That's the battery. Lithium batteries can be mounted up or on the side. This one's very good. It's built in Bluetooth, and like I've said before, if it gets too cold, it'll heat itself up because it's got to be at a temperature for it to turn on and run it at sort of optimum outputs and voltages. Then we're moving on to the mini fuse board that's in here. So we've got linked into there the front lights for the roof, the back lights for the roof, the USB chargers for the sides and the rear, and then the projector's on its own fuse as well. There's another, I don't know, 7 outlets, so if we do want to add any more 12-volt outlets, just run the wires in, positive, negative, and away you go. Then we're going to move on to the solar. So the solar comes in through the roof, which we've all seen, down the channel, along, into here. So this is that 60 amp breaker box. If we want to do any work and isolate the solar, we're going to flick that up, flick that down. Solar is now off. It's cut off, coming into the solar controller, charger, and everything else. But we're going to flick it back on because we don't need it off. Moving on to that, this is your solar charger. So this basically looks after itself, brings the current in from the roof, then passes it through into your battery. That there runs off the Victron app. So if we go to Smart Solar, click on it, loads up the data here. So at the moment it will say nothing's happening because we're inside. It's just reading the current voltage of the battery and everything like that. When it is pulling stuff in, these LED lights will light up. You ain't gonna look at that. You're just gonna look at this. It's state of play at the moment off because we're indoors. That's the reason why. I had it outside yesterday in the rain and it was still pulling 20 odd watts or something like that. And it was pretty dark. So that is the app for that. And then we've got the isolated, non-isolated DC-DC charger. So when the vehicle's running, which I will do in a second, that'll pull all the current from the vehicle data and the battery data, and it'll turn itself on and off, charge the battery up itself. Pretty simple. That, in a nutshell, is our electrical management system fitted in under the passenger seat. Now there is some really good companies out there that'll give you a board with everything linked on nicely to go, I don't know, in a cupboard in the back of the vehicle. We couldn't opt for that because we wanted to custom make this for under the seats because we're not having any storage in the back due to the seat layout and getting mountain bikes in. So I've made this myself. Everything's being wired up myself. I've done a neat enough job as I can. There is a couple of wires down the back there to tie up once we get the seat in, but I don't want to shorten them until I get the seat in because if they're too short, we've got problems and I don't want to put extensions in or connections. As it stands, that is everything bolted in the vehicle and now it's running off its own battery pack. So I'm happy with it. It got tested yesterday. It runs like a champ. I'm just going to jump in the car now, in the van, turn it on just to show you this charging up and stuff like that. Right, so I'm going to keep that there and hopefully it'll do its own little job That'll drop and move because obviously we've just took a load out the battery, and then hopefully it'll go to on in a minute. There we go. So it's on bulk charge. That's now got the vehicle battery at 14 volts because the alternator's on, so it's giving it max current, and then it's going to give me 13.5, and as you can see through the readout it's 13.4. I can live with a discrepancy of 0.1. So yeah, 13.5 going into it. It's lost 0.1 going into it. Oh, there it's gone up to 5. So that means everything's working in harmony. That now, if we left it running and went back onto the battery app, it's obviously gone up to 13.4, which is what's coming in. That battery now is getting charged off the vehicle running. So every time we're doing miles in the van, that is getting topped up. Every time we've stopped off, the vehicle's off, the solar panel is charging up. So regardless if the van's on or off, we're getting charged into that battery. And I was quite surprised yesterday at running that projector for an hour on full volume, full resolution. It dropped 1%, which for me, I think it's really good. I've also left everything on last night. Not the lights, but the projector power upgrade we had to put in, and all the LED readouts in the back. Battery didn't move anything. It still stayed at 59% when I left it last night to this morning. So I would say electrical management system is completed. That's my way of doing it. People will do it a lot differently. People will say it's a bit too condensed, it's going to overheat. The only issue we're going to have is the inverter, which is quite buried. That is going to be only on, pulling about 150 watts now and then when I need it. The rest of it looks after itself. Plenty of airflow going through. Also, we can open up the back of the bulkhead because the door's still on that. That's going to give us access into the back of that small fuse board. But realistically, if there's any issues or any main fuses we need to get to, flick the front seats up, you straighten on top of it to isolate anything. I'm happy. I hope you are. That's how I've designed and fitted. If you like it, if you want any more information on how I've done that, because not many people do fit all that underneath a driver's seat, or passenger seat, sorry, I will share some secrets of how to do it. Next is the floor and the wooden flooring. That's going to take some time, but we are going to try and get it smashed out this week. So we've got the floor bolted in yesterday, a little bit of GoPro footage of that going in. Very complex. There is bolts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14, but some of them aren't full bolts through the floor with plates, some of them are riv nut, and that is to take the bike tray so it can then pass a bolt through the bike tray, through the floor, into the vehicle floor. So that's bolted in. We've then got some 9mm ply. We've drawn up this part of the floor. The join is here, so we've overlaid the join so we're not got two joins on top of each other. When we come and put the final floor on, because the 9mm is going to take us up nice to the same height as the bolts and the washers, and then when we get our 15mm finished board on, that's going to take us to the top of the rails. So this morning I have just drawn roughly, you don't want to see it, looks like a kid's done it, but that's how I do my drawings, and they come out looking like that. So I've done this section, we're going to get that cut, some sticker flex down on the floor pan and some of the wood fillers at the bottom, bond it down, and then we've got some small self-tapping countersink screws that we're just going to make sure it is firmly fitted. 90% of the sticky business is going to be off the sticker flex, 10% with the screws is just to keep the sticker flex where I want it to be, wood move. Sticker flex takes a little bit of time to go off, but hopefully in the next couple of hours we should have a wood floor 1. Before we go on to wood floor 2, which is the final wood floor. Setting that all aside, because we wanted something different, I've drawn and designed this lovely mount. Because the Nebula projector, which is really good, doesn't come with any sort of fixings to mount it on anything. So we've decided we're going to build one to the top of the van. We've had a couple of goes at it, as you can see here. And the reason for that is it's got to be at an angle, this slope, so when that sits in the van, it's going to point the projector slightly upwards, we hope. So today 9mm ply floor number 1 installed, projector fully installed. I'm gonna get back on my hands and knees. There's me drawing. Looks like one of my kids has done it. Well, you remember what that looks like, and when I've put it on the machine, I'll go, it looks about right. And if it doesn't fit, it's your fault. The orange has come outside, the floor is in. We're going to show you that in a minute, but we've just had delivery of this brand new T7. That is having a triple rail system and a double swivel seat fitted by us today. So we're going to get cracking on that. This has been pushed outside, but I've managed to get that floor in. 9mm ply, bringing it up higher by about 1.5mm to the fitting bolts. So we've got a nice, flat, solid surface. I've got to modify these drawings to basically have the 4 slots out, and there's going to have 4 holes, which we've pre-riv nutted in to take the bike carrier when we build that. But as it stands, that's outside, that's setting, glued, it's screwed. It's great. I'm happy with it. Next time you see that, we're going to be designing the finished floor and getting that installed. But now we're going to go inside, get our hands dirty with chopping some legs off the brand new van. Seat. Goodbye. The floor is in. Actually putting the floor in, finished floor, took 25 minutes. The preparation has took a long time. Wanted to make sure the subfloor was level, flat and strong, which we got. We then also wanted to make sure the 2 joins which we've got here were perfect. The routed in step was perfect, because that's going to be taking one of these light channels which is nice and flush, which is going to look amazing when that runs through the van. The courtesy light comes on, that's going to run down there, along the bottom of the bulkhead and down the side of the vehicle. And when the bike tree is mounted, it's going to shine underneath the bike tree and like give a bit of a halo effect, which I think is going to look awesome. As for fitting, it's gone better than what I wanted it to. It looks really neat, and it just finishes the floor off. It's solid, it's level. I'm happy with it. So that's how I fit the van floor. Just took a little bit of time, wiggle room, adjustments even there, but hopefully when we get the seats in and everything, it'll just tie in nicely. We are going to be making a step lip for this and the side door out of the brushed stainless we're going to be using for the top covers for here, just so it's all in keeping and matching, but also hard wearing. So as it stands, that has got to be left now for a long time. Ideally 24 hours. I don't want to move the vehicle. I just want to let all that sticker flex adhesive bond where it needs to be, so we've got a nice hard surface to walk on. Don't know what we're going to move on to next. Bobby's going to be running the channel in and then the LEDs and join them into the control panel. We're waiting for some more of the aluminium extrusion coming to fill that wider gap, and then the narrower stuff along where the bulkhead is and down the side. That is a floor fitted. I'm over the moon with it. It's been a labour of love, but the effects, as you can see, I think look tremendous. Right, we'll come to the end of this video. The flooring's in. My knees have took a hammering, but the look we've achieved is above my expectations. So let's have a quick look of what it looks like now it's finished. So we've routed in the LED light strips. So we've got a wider one for the centre of the floor and a slightly narrower one to go around the plinth at the bottom. There's a couple of little covers I need to put on. I have just installed and wired them up to the courtesy lights today. So on the button, they'll fire on, or when the doors open, they'll come on for a set amount of time and turn off. That there just lifts the floor. It obviously brings out the hex resin top coat that's on there. And in all fairness, I think it looks tremendous. I'm very happy with it. A lot of work's gone into that floor this week. Get the subfloor in, which you've seen, and the finished floor, make sure it's all level. Because that joint in the middle is 2 bits of wood. And obviously to get that thin light strip in, so it's got to be perfectly level, the right width, the right height, so everything runs over lovely and smooth. And that is the outcome you can get. It's not rocket science, it's not hard work, it's just take your time with it. It's took a bit longer, like the whole van has, but in all fairness, go back to the start of this series of building this van from a panel van. Inside of there now is looking tremendous. I'm not a camper van builder, I'm a metal worker. I build camper van seats, I turn into beds, which you all know about. I'm delving into the camper van side of things again for my own personal use. If I can do it, anyone can do it with a little bit of help, a little bit of knowledge. Don't be scared to ask for help or ask questions, and you can get an outcome like that with pretty basic stuff. Yes, we have used some high-end CNC cutting machines and all that, but there's a lot of them out there. Do your drawings, take to someone, let them cut it for you. At the moment, the electrics have been powered up now continuously for a week. Everything's working, solar panels are working great. Unfortunately, we've got no seats. They've been removed. They've gone up to Spartan Upholstery up in Rotherham. We're a little bit strained in there, so I didn't want to drop all this onto them. Plus, he is a lot better at doing front seats than what we are. When we get them back, they're going to look amazing. I've given the colour scheme. He's pulled the face out because it is random. So you will see these the first time I see them. And it's going to be like Marmite. And I hope it's going to go the way I want it, so it looks cool. If not, I've wasted a lot of money. But everything else I've done has come out to me vision in my head, and that's the way it looks. I'm happy with it. Next week is going to be a slow week because we've got no seats, but hopefully we can get the sideboards on, our side steps installed, a couple of little odds and sods bits. Maybe get the stainless trims down on the top of the rails and the doorstep fitted as well. But next week is going to be a bit more of a shorter week because of the upholstery situation and everything else. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I have now, it's done, but the floor Monday or Tuesday it was getting hard work with all the measurements. But there you are. Do you like it or do you hate it? Let us know. It's projector time. The projector is 99% installed. It's playing behind these doors. I'm going to show you straight into it how good this looks. And there you have it. That's took a few weeks with the wiring and working things out, but the projector is playing. The Nebula projector has got everything fitted in you want, YouTube, Netflix, all the rest of it. We've also got the HDMI cable running down the side of the van with an outlet up front. There's going to be a 240 just below it so you can plug your Xboxes into it. So when you're on your travels, you can sit there, play your Xbox or your PlayStation or your Nintendo Switch, all the rest of it. But that, with the flooring, with the blinds, looks absolutely amazing. I don't want to talk about it anymore because that speaks for itself. So we'll come to the end of this video. If you want to see how we've got to this stage, go back to the previous episodes from the start where it was a panel van and we were drafting out the layout and what we wanted to spec this van with. That's the end of this episode. The floor's in, the projector's on. It's starting to look how I envisioned it 4 or 5 weeks ago. And hopefully you see what I was saying 5 weeks ago inside my head of what a van can be for my needs, but it might also be for your needs as well, or half it might be. Next step, which we might run into in the next episode, because we have got an Xbox in the showroom, haven't we? Let's get the Xbox down. Let's wire the 240 inverter. Let's plug it into that. Let's see if the inverter is going to power the Xbox, and let's see if we can have a game of Call of Duty or something in the van. Let's have it. That's what we're going to do next week, yeah? Sound like a plan? There we are. Tune back in next week if you want to see a little bit of Xboxing in the back of the van. All right, mate. What are you doing? I'll join you, mate. It's going to be a long week this week. It's a waiting game this week. Waiting for me seats. Can't do anything without seats, can we? No. Anyway, we're back on. I've spent all weekend inside the van watching all of Stranger Things, and I'm an even bigger Stranger Thing now. No, but it's going to lead us on to I cocked up because I left here Friday at midday and the projector needed to do some updates because it's connected to the Wi-Fi, and I thought it would just turn itself off, and it didn't. Paul come in yesterday, that's Sunday, messaged us in the afternoon saying projector's been on all weekend. So it's literally ran through the whole of Netflix, you know, pre-automated, just start playing anything, little shorts of things. It's done that for over 2 days solid, and it used 30% of the battery, which I think is really good. So I'm happy I did that because it's now tested that the battery is really good, the wiring's fine, everything's running sweet as a nut. But unfortunately this week's going to be a slow week. There's a few jobs I want to get done. We've designed some step covers for this and the back. They've come out of paint, I'll show you at the end. I want to get the side steps on there, looking good. We might have a little bit of a look on tinterwebs for the wheels. Try to choose which wheel we're going to put on it because we're getting close to that point. And then up here we need to start putting some battens on the roof to then take the final roof, but I can't put the final roof in until the seats go in because the passenger seat has got to go through the back end, which means we're going to take the bulkhead back out, slot it over all the electronics, bolt it down, then put the bulkhead back in. Christ, it's a long week already, I'm sick. But other than that, that is about it. There's not much more we can do until the seats come back from the trimmers and get them in, and that's just going to look, I'm hoping it's going to look really good. If not, it's going to look really Paul thinks it's going to look. So there we go. So this week, side steps, step covers, possible stainless covers. We're not going to put the seats in, they'll be going into paint in the next day or two. We're going to get the upholstery on first, then lift them in. If we do need to do some test fitting, we'll get that on camera as well, so you can sort of see how they're going to look, because you haven't got a clue about that yet. I've ordered the 1.5 metre lockable bike runners, so I can bring the mountain bike in and we can start measuring the bike trail and start making some, look for now, it's been raining inside. We have a leak. No, it's been outside during the day. We've just brought it back in. Them still look tremendous. If you haven't seen both the last video, really good job there. I love looking at them. But yeah, we're going to put the bike tray in. That'll be coming out a whole 1.5 metres out of here. We're going to do some little bits of that as well. I might put a swiveling table on the bottom if I can. So when it comes out, we'll spin the table out and then it sort of looks like a T-piece. So you can then use that to coot on and do stuff like that. But that's further down the line. But I will have a bit of time this week to look at that. But these are the aluminium powder coated trims. Then we'll sit on there lovely, line up with that hole. Don't do what everyone else does, cover that hole up. We see it all the time. Can't get your spare wheel. They'll carpet over it, then they'll put the 12mm ply over it, then they'll put the outdoor floor over it, and then you're screwed when you got a flat tyre because you can't get into wind your spare tyre down. The new T7s has got something similar to that as well, and Vitos go through this angle, I think. Something like that. Anyway, that's one trim. That's going to finish that off. The other trim there, this one's a little bit more technically drawn, but we've just drawn them, we'll put some bends on them, powder coat them with textured black. They're going to go on the side and front. Bit ruggedness, but then the bike tray will pass out through that. So that's the list of jobs this week. Side step, rear step, bonding them in. Running board side steps, bolting them on. Looking at how we're going to block out the roof to then take the panels we're putting up and then split the wiring from the front to the back because we've got two sets of lights, rear lights and front lights. Other than that, that's about it. If the upholstery guy works his magic, we might have the seats back Thursday, which could be a good end to showing you them and setting up next week's. And next week should be the finale. Touch wood. Stay tuned to see what we'll get up there this week. It isn't going to be much, but you've had enough of us for the last few weeks. So if you're bored of this one, go to the start and watch it all again. Or watch Stranger Things like I've done over the weekend inside your van. Like a little freak.
So this has rolled on very well from saying that we hadn't had much to do to basically last night Paul said we haven't got anyone spare to build the seats, so I've come in mega early and built the two seats that are going in that van we're building. We're not really talking about it much on the layout because it's going to be a little bit different, but that is the first look at the two seats. Now this is integrated of our product range, which is the Imix and the Benchy, but then we've combined them two onto the rail system. So both seats will move up and down the van, sit as a seat, recline as a seat, and then lie flat to make two 4-foot beds, or put an infill in to make a wider, the full width of the van sort of bed. We'll have a flat back to create more storage in the rear of the van. But yeah, that's basically them. I've invented that in my head. I don't know if it's going to work. I put it together with a bit of chalk and a square and some welding wire, and that's what it looks like. And I haven't welded for a long time, but them are solid enough to go in, and when they're in there with a wheel arch overhang, it'll start to take a bit more shape. So hopefully later on today we're going to get them through into paint and start assembling them tomorrow, and we'll show you how they work and stuff like that. But technically it's one of our Benchy products which is highly popular right now, and then we've mounted onto the sliding track system on the floor, which you've already seen last week how we've mounted that and done the flooring. So as it stands, that is the raw seat beds that was designed and made this morning, ready to go into paint. Can you remember where this video started? I was sitting in the van basically saying nothing was going to get done this week. Hands may seem different. It's been a mega busy week. We've come to another problem in the van. We're fitting the running boards, the brackets that have been supplied are supposed to fit the sport model with the side skirts on, and they don't. I'm not knocking the company, obviously them buying them in, but the brackets are garbage. So we're going to make our own brackets to bolt on the original studs underneath the sills, which look like they were probably going to take the Ford factory's minibus side steps. So we're going to come off them M8 studs, we know they're nice and solid, factory fitted, and make our own brackets. I'm going to show you what they're going to look like right now. But we've drawn them up, we've laser cut them, we've set them up in the bender. So now we're just going to put a simple 175mm bend on. We'll let that do its job, just like that. That's nice and square. That is going to fit underneath the vehicle. Probably with a bit of hammering as well. And then come out, side step on there. Dave! Come on, man! Oh, right, we're in a factory, not a library. I'll take that into my... Anyway, we better get our finger out because he's banging. He's obviously fixing something that he's cocked up. Anyway, we're going to have 6 of them, 3 per side. Quickly change the program to a 20mm bend, just like that. These are gussets, so these are going to get welded to the back of the bit we've just bent up, just to stop it from flexing at the back. Small intricate bends. Anyway, that's going to be underneath the van. That's going to get welded on the back like that. There's a stiffener. That's going to get powder coated black, and then we're going to bolt them on. That is the plan of action. 6 of them. Hopefully that's going to bring it down just low enough past the skirt, and then bring it out enough to the board sitting out of the van enough. But we have got the slots to slide it in and out. Hopefully this fits better than what I tried yesterday, because the cameraman wasn't here. I spent an hour on it pulling my hair out. It just doesn't work. The boards are sitting up like that and they're not level. It's a mess. So we opt to build our own. That's what we can do here, because we've got the laser cutter, the bender, the welder, the painting, everything. So hopefully by the end of today we should have the running boards on, and you'll be able to see where these are mounted to. Knock and stick. Anyway, that's the 6 welded up. Don't have to look pretty. You're not going to see them. We're going to get powder coated black in around 15 minutes. Get them out of the oven, then we'll get them bolted on and see where we go from there. But they're just simple brackets. That there now is solid. We'll see if I can stand on it. And I'm a big one, so if I can stand on it, it passes the test. We're just going to clean any spatter off, just so there's no paint contamination, and Liam's then going to paint them for us nice and black, and we'll get back to them when they come out of the oven. Right, the side running boards are on. I have spent a day and a half fitting these, because the brackets that come were supposed to be the special sport line brackets, and basically they're not. So I've had to make my own brackets. I don't know if I like them. As you can probably tell by my tone of voice, I'm not very happy. But apparently they were fitting, they don't fit. I ain't stupid, they don't fit. They would never fit. So anyway, they're on. The only reason why I've pushed it and put them on, and not just boxed them up and sent them away was because I need them for the kids to get in the van. As you can see, I'm in a bit of a mood this week, because everything I've touched has gone to Anywho, they're on. VWs have a step in the floor, so it's not as high to get into. Obviously my kids have got to step up to this, so hence why I've had to put the step on. It's on. I don't think I like them, to be honest, but I'm going to just leave them on and see how it goes. We have put the trims on, so we've got this trim on, made out of aluminium, powder coated. We've also put the trim on the back, so that is just edge trim, 3D printed a bung for the lowering of the wheel or spare wheel carrier, so that's in there. Pop that out, you can still get into it. I have spoken about this before. Please don't cover them up.
a lot of people do. And them are the runners. That is the length of the runners. So that is 1.5 meters. It's going to be mounted roughly there, and that's going to extend that again out the van with mountain bikes on. They've arrived finally, got lost by DPD, but they're here. So we can go on to that. We're going to make the brackets then bolted through, them riv nuts were built into the floor before we bonded and fixed it all down. So then 4 bolts will carry the bike tray. So we can move on to that next week. I was in early, as you've seen, and we've made the seats. We're that busy, we're doing the general works. They haven't even been painted yet. And this should have been on the road this tomorrow. So we're behind. But we're behind of good reasons, because we're too busy with the general stuff that takes priority. So this week we've done absolutely nothing. And if you've got this far in the video, you're an idiot, because I wouldn't have watched this far for this. I'm not very happy with the progress we've made. Next week, well, I've been promised, but I'm not going to promise, we should have the upholstery and seat in to finish the roof off. I don't know. What do you think? Do I keep them or do they go? They look too low. I don't like them. That's the way they fit, as in as low. I've just made brackets that fit better. Through the reason we're having the issues is because this has got side skirts on. They've been in sport mode, which means it's got to be lower down. I don't know. Do you like them or not? Let us know in the comments below. My mood might change next week for the best. I hope it does. Thank you for watching. It's been a Welcome to this week's instalment of hopefully having a better week than last week. Was the last week the one where I was upset? Oh, we've made progress this week already, which is the great thing. I was in at the weekend building the bike tray, which we'll show you in a little while. The driver's seat is in. I've covered it up. I don't want to get it dirty, and I don't want to showcase the beautiful upholstery that only I like. The rest of the workforce says it looks. I think it looks lovely. You're going to see that at the end though. What have I done? I have rerouted the courtesy lights to these 2 holes. I've then boarded all in here up to give us a level roof, so we can then put our finished roof onto that. So we've got nice secure fixings. People don't prep that area very well, and then the roof starts doing this. I want solid fixings throughout the full length and width of the van. We'll create the frame. I've glued it and screwed it to the roof, just in case it does flex or one of the screws does fail. The glue is going to keep it as well. Everything's sort of been glued and screwed on this because the van will flex. That's my opinion. That's the way I do things. People just whack a load of screws in, do whatever you want. But that's how I do it. The bike tray, which you can see in there, and now I've put it in, I've realised I've converted a private ambulance or a hearse. So I spent all weekend, well, all Saturday, designing it on the CAD, laser cutting it, bending it, welding it, painting it, and then putting it in, which you can see just after this video how the whole thing was made. But this is our coffin carrier, we're going to say, but it is for the bikes or whatever else we're going to put in there. Asda bags, Aldi bags, whatever else. Great for your shopping. 1.5 meters long, comes out full extension, bang, bikes on there, lift them off, put them down, push it back in. So if you like the look of the bike trays, if that's something that you might need in your van and you want to see how we built it, keep watching. It's coming up right now. Right, it's the weekend, everyone. I'm in by myself. Well, I'm lying. I've got little Rex with us. He's on his iPad. But I've come in when it's quiet because I'm going to bend up, paint, fabricate everything else, the bike tray, to go into the slide-out runner system. Now, yesterday, which was Friday, we built outer runners and inner runners and got them bolted into the van, which I'll show you later on. But today the main focus is making the bike tray when it's nice and quiet, so we're not disturbing production. So I'm going to download it from our high drive, load it into the laser software, get all the settings right and start cutting it. So just on there, that is the bike tray. It's going to be about 1600 long, so it is going to take up at least half the length of the sheet we're going to be using. So the next job is I've got to go around the other side, get that sheet off and get the right sheet on. We're going to use 1.5 CR4 material for this, keep it lightweight, but when it's bent, welded up and painted, it's going to be solid as a rock. So let's go and get that 3mm sheet off, put the 1.5 on and resume when we start cutting. So that is it, the 1.5mm sheet is on, it is coming into the machine as you can just see here. This machine's got 2 beds, so you can have 2 sheets on at the same time, so you can be cutting one and offloading the other. The other side's still got a 3mm plate on, but now we've got the 1.6 or 1.5 CR4 in the machine. We're going to now do the settings, make sure everything's right, make sure it's going to fit on the sheet where it is, hit the button, and we'll start cutting. We're doing alright, cameraman, I've been by myself, I hope so. So I've just loaded up the right cutting settings, because it's a bit complicated on the settings. We've got to make sure you've got the right pressures, oxygen pressures, laser focus, all the rest of it. We've got that lined up. Now we're just going to reference the sheet and frame to make sure it's going to cut on the sheet and not off the sheet. So I've pressed frame. This is just doing a run now of the biggest part of the area to make sure that we're not coming off the sheet, which we shouldn't be because we know the part is smaller than the sheet. And the next step is we want to fire it up, put this inside so you can see when it's cutting and how it's cutting, and then when it's finished we're going to exchange the tables, and hopefully that profile part is going to shoot out the other end. So when that's cutting, you've just seen it cutting a little bit out there, you'll see it finished when it comes through the back end. I want to talk about what bends we're putting on it. So when I usually do a program, I'll save the bends on the file name, just so I can remember. So this has got 17, 30 and 100. So we're going to have a small 17mm bend, which will go like that, then a 30mm bend, and then a 100mm bend, all the way around. Hopefully get the bends as tight as possible, put some weld in the corners to stiffen it all up, then it'll be ready for a little bit of sanding and ready for paint. Both running set up our press brake. I'll be using our 100-ton 3-meter long Armada press brake for that. I will move over to that in around about 5 minutes time when this is finished cutting to show you how to set that up. It's pretty easy when you get your head around it, and hopefully we'll get the bend square and everything lines up and makes a nice neat finish. Now looking at it, I think it's just finished. We'll tune in a minute, see if it has, and hopefully we should have the bike tray coming out just there. Looks like it's cut very nice quality. I think it's under there. Very nice, no sharp edges. Really good bit of kit. Got to maintain them well. Keep all the lenses regularly changed, cleaned. Nozzles changed regular. Check your oxygen pressure, all the rest of the stuff. There's a lot of things going to making a fiber laser cutter work nicely. Anyway, I want to put the camera down, get this lifted up and taken over to the press brake. Right, the next thing is start the bending process. You're going to go and back off there, give us enough room, because this should be a 2-man job, but I'm in by myself, so I'm going to have to do it by myself. There we have a tray. Once we get that pulled in, looking nice and neat, happy days. One tray bent up by myself, so the laser putting it up bent in. I'm going to take it to the bench now and get some weld on it. We're at the welding bay now. All I want to do is go to tack the corners up, make them look nice and neat, show you the finished product. So I'll give you a quick peek of the first corner, wedge around. I want to take that to look something like that. So it's got its paint on, blends in lovely, looks like a solid corner. Tune back in when the fabrication is finished. Right, we're back on. She's welded up, she's had a clean down, she's had a blow off. The welding's complete, bit more welding than I wanted, but it's welded up, it's been cleaned down. Airline's been on, take all the dust off it. I'm now going to put it in the oven just to warm up the temp, get it back out, and then we'll apply the powder coat, which is going to be our normal textured black powder coat. But yeah, it's looking good. Corners are welded nicely, dressed off. Let's get some heat on it and get it powder coated. Right everyone, the bike tray is in, come out the paint oven, but I had to leave quite quick on Saturday. So I've come back in this morning to bolt everything in. We've also cut a little bit of wood that's going to sit inside the bike tray, but I'll show you how it works right now. There's 2 locks, pulls out, just like that, and that's going to give you 1.5 meter extension. Load your bikes in, secure them down, push it back in like that, and that's it. That is a heavy duty bike tray. It's going to hold around 150 kilograms, 1.5 meters long. That's how we built it here from start to finish in FWX. Hopefully the bike's fit in. If not, it's been all a waste of time. But the cameraman is due back in later on today. It is early this morning, so hopefully he'll be in sharpish, where we're going to tackle the project of the roof. Stay tuned for that. Hopefully he's going to use this footage, because I've tried my best with it to capture everything that we've done to create this bike tray from start to finish here in the workshop. Job done. So, if you watched last week, I was very upset. This week, 20% better. Haven't really got much done. We did get the bike tray done, but technically that was during the weekend. This week we've been mega busy with other stuff here, fittings and all the rest of it, once again taking priority. But we haven't got the upholstery back for the passenger seat. So technically I'm stuck. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We need to take this out, drop the seat in, bolt the seat in, put that back in, put the bottom bulkhead part back in, wire the 240 socket up. Then I can put the roof on, but obviously we've been able to do a little bit of progress on the roof, batten it out, and I've cut the roof, as you can see. So obviously flip that upside down. It's starting to rain here in Chesterfield, beautiful weather. Anyway, the roof's cut, it needs trimming off a little bit to fit better, but once I get that in, I can fit the roof, drop the lights through, drop the curtain slides through, put the strips in, the LED strips in, happy days. Then we should be putting the 2 single seats in the back. Then it's technically completed, but I have got some woodwork to do for the back of the seats to trim them off nicely. But we're 90% there, ready for the kids to travel in it now, which is great. So not massive progress. We've done that bike tray, which is quite complex. That's all in. The brackets have come to start mounting the bikes onto, so we can start maybe looking in that next week. I'm going to revert back to what we promised as well the other week about the Xbox. So hopefully Monday, Tuesday, we should have the power socket in to run off the inverter, and then we're just going to spend half an hour playing the Xbox in the back of the van to cheer us up. So if you want to see that, tune in next week, unless the seats don't come back and nothing's happening, because I am at max stage now until I get that front passenger seat back. So thank you very much for watching. Next week will be better. It should be completed next week, give or take a little bit of woodwork, but I'm not really worried about that. See you later. Is this the final week or is it not? We don't know yet, but we're going to get as much done as possible. Bulkhead is semi come out, it's still attached for the lights. Give us enough room to drop this seat in. The seat is back with us. I'm going to show you that very soon. But this week, what are we aiming for? We're going to get the passenger seat in, bulkhead top and bottom section in, the 240 socket fitted and wired in. Then we're going to move on to getting the back seats bolted in, but before that we're going to get the roof in and all the lights in. The seats at the back might roll on to the next episode, depending on when we get the upholstery back from them. But this week, passenger seat in, bulkhead in, roof in, lights on. That's what we're going for. And if we've got time, we're going to get that Xbox plugged in to see if it'll power up through our power system we've got here and play nicely through the projector. But the big reveal is we're going to have to show you the seats now, because we're going to be messing on with them, and you're going to see a bit of them. So there you go, there's our seats. People don't like them, I love them. We've got an orange van, we've got orange top stitch, we've got this greeny, yellowy, mustardy colour, whatever you want to call it, textured suede with orange stitch throughout. And then it's got the Drive Aspect logo. If you want to know more about Drive Aspect, Google it and go and have a look. That is our seat, that's going in. We will tune back in when it's bolted in. The van shades colour blind coming down, see how it all works. But that's the start of this week's episode. How we're going to make it to the end, who knows, who cares, but we're going to have a good go. Day one of this episode is complete. We've got quite a bit done. The seat is in and it fits like a glove. We've also got a wildlife park behind us, as you can see. Anyway, the seat is in. Everything fits under there beautifully. So front seats are in to travel on. I've now got 3 seats. Last week I didn't have any seats. So we've done that part. Next, inside. Bulkhead is now fully in, bolted back in, bottom half's in, another USB in the bottom is in, and then we've put the 240 in as well and tested that with Henry the Hoover for 15 minutes and it works a treat. So that basically is finished, front end finished. We've got one more brace to put in for the roof, and then we're going to start insulating and pulling the cables through for the different lights and get the ceiling on tomorrow. As it stands, it's starting to look very, very sharp, neat and tidy in there, and it looks amazing. So your end's kind of technically going to be a bit floppy. I want to screw from the back forward, because then I need to put the wire through the centre board here.
Yep.
If you have a look, there's lines on here. You just see them little chalk lines?
Yep.
That's got to be exact on there.
Okay.
If not, the other panels will not fit. Alright? So what I'll do is I'll get, you'll have enough movement. All you're going to do is just take the weight underneath whilst I get this screwed up.
Yep.
The roof. It's a bit uneven at the moment. I've only temporarily screwed it in. We have got the cables, which I'll run through now. We have got front drivers, rear drivers. So the rear drivers works off the red button there, and the front drivers works on this red button. Same for this side. So you've got front passenger and then rear passenger. Independent lighting. This one behind us is the courtesy light. That'll be linked up, so when the doors are open or you lock it and unlock it, all that'll light up. So when the roof's in, we're going to end up with 3 strips. One continuous one, then there'll be 2 at the front and then 2 at the rear, but when you're looking at the roof it'll just look like 3 continuous strips. One about here, one in the centre, and then one where them wires are coming out of there. So we're just going to get this panel up, bring the cables through, final secure everything, and then I'll start getting the channeling out and cut and screwed up, and then laying the LED strip lights in, soldering it together, testing everything, and that is the roof in. The upholstery's coming for the single seats. Hopefully either later on today, depending on timing, or tomorrow morning, the single seats should be dropping in. We've kept banging on about the Xbox. The Xbox will be probably going into next week's run-up, which will be the final week. But I want to be able to sit on the single seat at the back, projector on, Xbox on, so you can see the full sort of package of what I wanted to achieve. But as it stands, I think we're 94.5% there for the completion. We have had an issue with the front wheels, which I'll tell you about as well when we're talking about this. So the Sport has got lower suspension, so the company that put the wheels on, whack them on, it'll fit. They do fit, slight rubbing on the back of the arch, so I've been in touch with a guy in Poland who's got some 40mm poly bushes that fit on top of your suspension strut, so I can jack the front end up 40mm, which will equal it out so it looks equal for the front and the back. That'll stop the rubbing. So we've got that to do at a later date, which we'll tune back into. That doesn't have to be involved in this build, but that is a problem that we've got at the front. And then the last thing to do will be the stickers. Whenever them get done, we're just waiting for the guys to design them, come and take these ones off and fit the new ones. But as it stands today is the roof date. We're going to get the roof completed, lights on, checked over. So when you come back, hopefully we'll have some strip lights in and they'll all be working. So this week's been another week of false promises, but the roof is in. There's no Xbox, there's no seats in the back, but the roof's in. So let's have a look at the roof. It's a bit hard to see in here because it's dark, but the roof panels are in. Everything's wired up, so courtesy lights on with everything. This button controls the front lights. The back button controls the rear lights. These are dimmable, keep your finger on them, it'll dim down, so it's low if it's too bright for people. But yeah, the roof is in. So, next week, the seats are ready, we just haven't put them in yet, so they'll 100% be in. The Xbox is going to get powered on, the bike's going in, so tune in next week for the finishing touches. Then we're going to take it out on a little trip to show you what it can and can't do. So there you go. Not long left. If you've been watching from the start, thank you very much. It's been a labour of love.
and we've had to do everything else behind the scenes as well. We don't just build vans, we do all the seats. So this is a bit of a sideline project. It has took a bit of time, but most of the things in here are totally custom, if you know what I mean. I've had to build it from scratch, from the floor to the seating and sleeping system, all that. It's a brand new concept that we didn't have, even down to the bike tray. A lot of work has gone into it. I'm happy with the end results that we're starting to see now. So tune in next week for the big one, where it will, I promise, be finished. So we are coming to the end of this epic build. This van, I have built it for my own personal reasons. It's just about finished. There's a couple other things that we need to do, little bits of trim and stuff, but the whole concept is complete. I'm going to run through it now of what we've actually done from start to finish. This was just a panel van. It is a 19 plate automatic short wheelbase Transit Custom in a lovely orange colour, sport edition, lovely van to drive. It was just a panel van with some lining inside and a plastic flooring. I can't really remember what it looked like when it first came to us, but it looks totally different now. And what I had envisioned in my head has come to reality, and it looks amazing. My thoughts, because its colour scheme, its layout and its usability is all around what I need, and it's not really what you normally see on the market. So let's get into what we've done, how we've done it and how it looks. So up front, not much change here except the seats. Fully redone the seats, so these are heated seats. They've got a bespoke sort of stitch pattern, orange stitch with a yellowy green centre panels. We've also got the black automotive grade vinyl on the outers, and then we have actually got perforated infill panels here. Seat covers on mine because I get very dirty, so I want to keep them nice and clean. But only thing we've upgraded up front is the front seat material. It's Marmite. You either love it or hate it, and I absolutely love it, and it is grown on people. So that's up front, pretty simple, but it does look striking on the eye when you see this driving up with the colour combo. That's up front. So we're in the back end of the short wheelbase, and I've tried to utilise as much space as possible to get the things in that I need and what's important to us. And the most important thing is the kids. So they've got their own single seats that recline. I've got ISOFIX, move up and down the front of the vehicle so I can have them up front or back if I need them in the rear. Best place for them is in the middle of the van. That's the safest place, so we've got that option as well. These seats weren't one of our normal products. We've had to combine a few products to get this layout to work. So this is technically a Benchy and an Immix combined on our bespoke custom sliding floor system that no one else has got because it's ours, we invented it. We've put it all together and we've managed somehow to make it all work. The seats are 550mm wide, plenty of space to get adults and children on. We've got a centre bike rack system that we've made ourselves that slides out. That's going to house 2 bikes. We've also got some added features of all the electrics that we've put in. I wanted to be off-grid. There's no 240 hookup in this. We have got a 240 inverter, so we can power 240 volt appliances up to 800 watt. We don't want anything too strenuous. We've got solar panels on the roof. We've got the battery management system under the seat, which I'll show you very soon. We've got around about 22 USBs with different outputs, some fast 65 watters, some normal 3, 4, 5 watters just to charge your phone up. We have got the projector as well, which is going to beam from the back onto this 50-inch screen here, so the kids can be sat right at the back and have whatever they want, Netflix, YouTube or an Xbox, which we're going to try and play a little bit later. But as it stands, the van inside is now finished. Flooring's in, the roof's in, everything's been customised except the van shades, which you can get off the shelf. Put them in, great addition to the system of obviously keeping everything blacked out when we've got the projector on. The roofing, we've used the acoustic paneling everyone's putting on the walls at home. We've put that on the roof. We've also incorporated a different light system, so we've got courtesy lights, we've got lights up front, and then if we want to, we can turn them off and put lights on at the rear. We've got rear spotlights, so when we're working on the bikes outside the vehicle, we can put the spotlights on to give us direct access. It's got its own Wi-Fi now built in, so this has its own Wi-Fi, 5G speeds up to about 150 megabytes, which is just what we need to run the Xbox and run the projector. So we're always got connectivity for the kids with iPads and stuff like that. But other than that, that's inside of this van. This is my adventure vehicle. I can take it to Tesco, I can take it up a mountain and do some downhill mountain biking, or I can drive it to France or Switzerland to do some skiing. It covers everything that I need. It mightn't cover everything that other people need. I built this for myself, but I also built it with the idea to do a little bit of a different concept. You don't always need a kitchen in here, or a double or triple or full with rock and roll bed. You can always cook outside, but
You can still sleep in here, you can stay in here nice and safely and house everything you need as well, from bikes to shopping. Or if need be, take the bike out, slide the seats all the way forward. You've got a massive load space to do any IKEA shopping you may need to do. So all that said, we're now going to do a deep dive into each feature this vehicle has got to offer, starting from the battery management to the bike tray to the projector, and to see if we can get this Xbox powered up as well. So stay tuned for that. So back up front now, I want to show you the power management system that I've built, custom built to fit under this seat. It was like guesswork, but everything fits lovely. I want to run down now briefly what we've got in. So main thing is we've got an isolator that tells us the voltage coming in. We've got the lithium battery, 240 amps, very good battery. On the roof we have got two 200-watt solar panels. They're in like a dark black colour as well, just so it matches in with the van nicely. Then we've got the solar panel isolator, so if we're doing any work we'll flick that off, so any solar panel coming in stops here and doesn't continue into the battery management system. Here we've got our non-isolated DC to DC charger. This takes the power from the main battery under the seat, the vehicle battery, brings it in here, sorts all the voltages out, and then drops it back into our leisure battery here when we need it. Solar panel control unit, that's just doing what it needs to do, sucking the solar panel in, and when it needs to, offloading it to the battery if the battery's low. We've then got a fuse box system in here, so this links up to all our USBs, project the power, because that's got its own power module, so it needs to get up to around 45 watts of power, so it charges nicely. So everything's on separate fuses in there, so if we do have an issue out back with any lighting or USBs or anything like that, we can just isolate it straight from there, put a new fuse in. It's not then going to run through the system and cause nasty gremlins. And then underneath all that, we've got the 800 watt Victron inverter. I went for 800 watts, so I'm only going to be powering the Xbox on this, which only needs about 180 to 200 watts of power, or peak power, so that's perfectly fine for what we need. Fingers crossed, I haven't checked that yet. We want to see that all working hopefully at the end of this. But that is our battery management system with the two solar panels on the roof, nicely fitted securely under the seat to utilise as much space as possible. So a couple of features on here as well. We've changed the front grille to the Ford new style Raptor grille. That's up front. We've put the rear spoilers on just to give it a bit more of a sporty look. I have put a little exhaust tip on the back here. No, it doesn't make it go any faster, but it just breaks the back end up a little bit, just gives it something to look at. Next, we're going to dive into the back end of the vehicle where we've got quite a lot going on. Let's move into it. Let's get that bike tray slid out and look what space that gives us. Before we move on to the bike tray, we have put these storage panels in. We aren't putting any kitchen down or any cupboards or anything like that, because I wanted to utilise the space for the bikes and the kids. But with any shoes or anything like that we need to put in, we've got two panels on each door. These are from Coombe Valley Campers. Great bit of kit. I think it costs about 100 quid. Pop into the original fixings, 10-minute job. Gives you all that storage where you wouldn't have it normally. You'd normally just have carpet panels, so I'd definitely recommend getting them. Move on to me labour of love. This is what I made on a Saturday. Full bike tray mounted into the chassis. That's also mounted into our sliding floor system, so it's all securely fitted. Two tabs, slide it out with a handle. This is going to come out 1.5 meters. That gives us access to the bike. The bike is mounted with the fork mount at the front and then just the wheel strap at the back. That keeps everything nice and solid. We can lift it on, put the front wheel on, and away we go down the trails. These parts here are the infills for the seat beds, which we'll show you in a little bit, but they're just sitting to where the upholstery is missing. Them are going to be velcroed to the back of this strip here, so when we need to use it, we can just rip them off, put them into the bed, but I'll show you where them fit a little bit later. The back end of the vehicle, we are going to look to mount some maybe elasticated luggage sort of straps on here. I'm not too sure yet. I like the way it looks as it is. All the floor and side panels, everything matches in nicely. I wanted to look rugged, but I also wanted to be easy clean. Damp cloth, get any mud off, stuff like that. This isn't a vehicle that's going to be pristine all the time. The kids are going to be jumping all over it. We're going to have money bikes in and out of it. I want it to be easy to clean inside and out and not worry if there's a scratch here and there. We have got a battery pack or a power bank to put in the back, and a fridge, like a mini portable fridge that I've had previously. I just haven't put them in yet, but then I'll sit behind these seats nicely. These seats will lock into, off the top of my head, 5 or 6 different locations throughout the length of the van, which is going to give us a lot of options if the kids want to be in the middle, up front or right at the back. But that is how it looks. We've utilised as much space as possible. Due to the width we had, I wanted to try and make the seats 550 each and then the bike tray 550, and that takes you up to about 1650, 1700, which is the width of the Transit. Utilise as much width as possible. So moving on to the next thing, which is the projector. So just before we finish up at the back of the vehicle, I also want to point out some USBs that we've got. Either side we have got a 12 volt cigarette lighter and 2 USBs. on both sides. That's to power the power bank for recharging and the portable fridge. And then up on here we have got the rear lights, so press that, the rear lights will come on nice and neat. That is, if I can reach, just there. Back side of the lights will come on. Them can be dimmed as well, up and down, whatever level you want. But as it stands, that's the back of the van. We're going to get the bike back in, slide it back in, make sure it clicks in, and then we're going to move into the main part of the vehicle to start showing you the projector, how that works, and what we've had to do to get it to work. So we're in the main part of the van now. As you can see, where I've just come from, the USB chargers are down there. You've got your light switch as well with the red ring. Then you've got the big red ring up here. The big P, that is the power for the projector. So inside of that column, there is a power inverter, a 100-watt power inverter. That projector needs at least 42 watts of power to charge back up. It is rechargeable, so it's got its own 2.5-hour battery, so you could take it out and move it about. But I just want direct power to it all the time. It runs better, you get better quality out of it. So if the red light's on, that's delivering enough power up to the projector to get the projector to work. What we're going to do now is fire the projector up, pull the screen down, and then show you the projector in its normal mode. And then we're going to go through using the inverter to try and power the Xbox up, because we have put behind us in this corner here is our HDMI cable, so that runs from there all the way up to the projector. So whatever we put in there should come out the other end on the projector screen. That hasn't been tested yet, so it's going to be a first for us. So let's see if we can get the projector on, get the Netflix on, see what that's like, and then we're going to plug in the Xbox to the 240 outlet and the HDMI to see if we can get an Xbox working inside the vehicle. So let's jump into the bed or seat system that we've manufactured here at FWX. That is what we're well known for worldwide. This is something totally bespoke, it's never been done before. First thing is obviously we're talking about the rails. Obviously this is going to slide up and down the vehicle nice and easy. To lock it in, it's got 4 catches at the bottom. That'll find its slot, that's nicely locked in. All of our products come with Isofix, as you can see here. Flip it out. Isofix hoops are in there with the top tether. So to get this into a small bed, my idea was to have these both up front here, lying into beds, and then having an infill piece. If I ever want to stop over at a, I don't know, a bike track, something like that, the option is there to have a bed inside. But to use it, very easy. Recline the handle, that's going to give you different positions of backrest angle. That locks in at different positions. Lift the handle up, pull your seat belts out. That goes down there, infill, which we talked about before. That goes in there. So when the bed is fully flat, this is going to come out around about 1250 millimeters long. So when we lock everything in, touching the bulkhead, and put the infill panel in, that's going to be a nice little bed for me to curl up on and sleep on if I need a night away. Wasn't designed to be a bed, but the option is there, and that's how that works. That is our benchy. Obviously this is the smallest bench that we've made. Our normal benches are 850 upwards. This is 550 as a single, and it works really well. I think people who's got transits and want this layout might opt for this because it's very compact. It's got a nice flat back. It still extends out nicely. It's got the reclining feature and the Isofix. But that is how easy it is to make this from a seat to a bed, and then obviously back to a seat again. So let's get to the finale, what everyone's been waiting for, the projector. This has turned out much better than I expected, but to get that we have kept the bulkhead. So this is original top and bottom bulkhead. Obviously we've still got access panel to get into the back of the power management system if we need to. Obviously the lights are attached to here. We've got USBs here, and then we've got the Wi-Fi router to the side of it. We've had to 3D print a lot of stuff, bracketry, like you see on top of here. This is held up by 3D printed and designed brackets by us. There's a bottom bracket that's going to hold the projector screen flat against the bulkhead. If not, it'll rattle about. There's also another 3D printed bracket for the projector, because it's got to be angled correctly to get the right slope of the van. That took a few attempts, but we got there. And then the Wi-Fi's got its own little housing as well. But I want to jump in the van, get the van shades down, make it all nice and dark, and pull the projector screen down. So that's us locked in. We will mention Caravan's storage pod system clips into factory holes, 2-second fitment. You can see that on our other videos of how easy that was to fit. Then we got in touch with Jack at Van Shades, very good friend of Jack and his dad Pete. He sorted us out some lovely van shades to match the carpet, and then obviously the green to match the front seats as well. So what we're going to do now is pull the van shades down, get it nice and dark, and get the projector lit up properly. The projector screen, it's got a clip at the top. This is going to keep it obviously in traveling position, up nice and fixed. Slide that down. That's going to drop down into the bracket we've made for it. And then let's sit back and see what we've got. There we have it. So there's my arm on the way. What we've got is obviously we've got our YouTube channel up. This projector's got a lot of different options: Netflix, YouTube, Amazon Prime, I think. So you can put whatever you want onto it. It works really well. I'll put something on. Not like I want to hear my own voice, but let's have a look. See how it runs up.
Is this the final week or is it not? We don't know.
I don't know what episode this is, so we'll have to see. But let's pull it down. So that's full volume. Nice and quiet. Quality's great. Obviously we've got the speaker built into the projector itself. That sounds great, but it's nice and dark and you can see exactly what's on the screen ahead. If you want to see how this was built and you haven't seen it already, multiple series from the start to this point now of how we got it to this stage. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to FWX Direct on YouTube. But I will press, because I can't see because it's that dark in here, Netflix. Let's see if it'll flick Netflix up now. It'll transition lovely into that. So everything's working on the Wi-Fi router at the moment. So it's all self-sufficient wherever you are. It's got its own little hotspot as well. But it is pretty dark in here, isn't it?
I can't see you.
Cameraman, it's pretty dark, but yeah, we're straight onto it. That's one of my kids' profiles, 6'7". Unbelievable. There you go. But no, but everything works. It's nice and quick. Quality's great. Projector, result. Next, let's move on to can we power up the Xbox and have an Xbox on. So let's get into that. Right, we've got some light back in the van. Let's get this Xbox wired up to see A, have we got enough power to run it, and B, does the HDMI cable run, and see what it looks like when it's on there. Let's get back in the darkness. Right, we've wired everything in. Let's see if we can get some power on the Xbox. I don't know if we will or not. I haven't powered this up for ages.
You might need to power it
From the button at the front. Why is it not working? Why is that not working? Like?
Oh.
Strange.
It's on.
It's on. There we go. Oh, there you go. Oh, look at that. This is an old Xbox. But we've got the power, we've got the HDMI linked up. It all works like a dream, I think. But this is from the showroom upstairs. We do have an Xbox in the showroom for the customers, but it hasn't been turned on for ages. So it's not going to be connected to the internet, and it's going to have to do a lot of updates. The main aim was to make sure the HDMI cable works from the front to the back of the vehicle, and the inverter powered everything up, which it seems to have done from the get-go. We did have an issue at the start, because on the Victron inverters, there's an eco and a normal mode. It was always on the eco mode, so I've flicked on the normal mode. That's powered it straight up. I think it's working, but obviously it's doing a lot of whatever that is. But there we have it. So, what we've achieved: cinema van, gaming van, travelling van, mountain biking van, overall adventure vehicle in a short wheelbase Transit Custom. And I think it looks tremendous, and it does everything you need it to do. Especially when we get the little fridge in the back as well. So when I have cold drinks, we can chill out, recline, play the Xbox, watch a bit of YouTube. Job complete, I think. I'm very happy with it. Quite warm in here as well, isn't it? It's insulated well as well. But if you want to see all of that, subscribe FWX YouTube channel and make sure you watch from start to finish, because this was once a panel van and now it's a luxury everyday adventure vehicle. If you like the look of it, you can copy it and build one yourself.